All right, here we go on a Monday. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you, fresh off a weekend. Great weekend in Kansas City. A lot of good things going on, you know?
Like for you or for everybody?
No, for the city, you know?
Yeah.
I'm mainly talking about the fact that the city has a different vibe when the Royals are doing well.
God, isn't that nice?
And it was a great weekend out of Kauffman Stadium. We'll talk a lot about that, including, I thought just the Royals did a great job on Friday night with the ceremony. We can get on the field stuff, but a nice, like, little touches. Like, I don't know who's responsible for this, but little things matter. You know, when they're doing the 2014 celebration on Friday, and of course they have multiple players back, and they have the chairs set up, you know, in the infield like they always do for these type of ceremonies. But instead of just having the players just walk out of the dugout like normal, they had Shields and Hosmer and Moose and Dyson, et cetera, all come from the stands.
That's cool.
High-fiving fans as they went down to the celebration on Friday night. I just thought, like, it's a little thing that you add to the celebration, but I think that was pretty cool. It allowed fans to have that interaction, and that was just neat. I hadn't seen that before from a lot of places. Normally, kind of just walk out the dugout, go sit down, say a few things. But
move on.
They did that stuff, too, in the highlights. But the fact that they let them come through the concourse in the stadium and walk their way down, that was neat.
Really close team. Like, you can tell that they're a really close team, and one that the city still clearly embraces. Although, I admit, thought there are going to be a few more people out there on Friday and Saturday. I think they're probably hurt a little by Kelsey Jam and a little by graduation stuff or whatever the normal excuses are for that kind of thing. But I still kind of thought there'd be more people out there. But if you think about where they were in attendance at the beginning part of this year,
that's fair,
versus what they're getting out of the stands now, there's a significant improvement.
It takes time to build up the belief and therefore the attendance for the whole if you build it, people will come kind of thing, right? That's what's going on here. But I thought they were going to get 30. We can agree on this, though, because I hate being I think it's tough because you're asking people to spend their own money. And so I hate being how could you not show up? Can we agree on this, though? And I won't bring it up again the rest of the show. This is the last week of the excuse, though, of it.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we're like, it's graduate. Like, what's other than it's 4th of July weekend or it's Memorial Day weekend, which, by the way, typically the reason why they do Memorial Day games is they get attendance. Now, the Royals aren't at home for that one. But yes, the excuse train of it's graduation or Kelsey Jam was this weekend or anything else, because they had hundreds of thousands of people or whatever, right, at the Kelsey Jam. At one point, their live stream had like 800, 900,000, a million viewers.
I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people at the Kelsey Jam.
I don't remember how many went down.
It was a one-day event, so there's no way. But I hear you. A lot of people went there. Graduation and all that. If people were asking about the exact attendance numbers, around 25,000 on Friday. I was hoping for 30. Saturday was 22 something, if I'm not mistaken.
It was 20,000 people down at Kelsey Jam, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And they had hundreds of thousands of viewers too. But yeah, it was good attendance.
Oh, it was a great atmosphere too. Those that attended, plenty of energy in the game, all of that. And as I said, I don't normally like to be the attendance guy because you're asking people to spend their money and everybody's financial situation is different. And nobody's saying that it's super cheap to take a family and all that. But I'm just saying there's no more, like before it was, it's weather or there's school. Pretty soon I'm just saying you'll be past Memorial Day weekend. You'll be past school, all that. So then it'll just be.
It's just how many people are showing up to the ballpark.
Right.
And it's a good reminder, and we talked about this once, that in 2014, Ned Yost, halfway through the season, was begging people to come out to the stadium. So it's not like we haven't experienced before. The other part of the attendance thing is, I don't want to come here on a Monday and make that the first thing.
Yeah.
The Royals just got a sweep against the A's, are now 10 games above 500 for the first time since 2015, the year in which they won the World Series. Bobby Wood Jr., Maikel Garcia, Vinny Pasquantino, Salvador Perez are helping carry this thing. Seth Lugo had 10 strikeouts again. Brady Singer was good again. I'd much rather come in here on a Monday and talk about all the things that are going really well for Kansas City. Last night was one of the most yesterday was one of the most fun games of the year because great starting pitching. Vinny hits a bases-clearing pinch hit triple and is having fun with Salvador Perez in the clubhouse after. We can play that audio in a minute, where Salvador Perez compared him to a truck. And then Vinny said he's not sure if that's a compliment, but, he'll take it maybe as one for now. It was one of the more enjoyable Royals weekends ever because what I had said on Friday I meant, which was I said this is a big series from the sense that is you're going to see all the 14 members of these teams Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're going to come in. They're going to throw the first pitches. There's going to be this whole ceremony, Gold. And what we talked about on Friday was you have a massive chance to just play great baseball, and then we all get to walk in here on Monday and be like, I'm in. I'm all the way in, which is how I feel after watching them not just beat the A's, they dismantled the A's this weekend. That was a one-sided series only in favor of the Royals.
No, it was great. It was a great weekend. I think more and more excitement and buzz around town. I don't know about you, just being out and about during the weekend, whether you're actually at the game or not, you're starting to see people wearing more Royals gear again.
I'm in Royals gear right here.
Whether it's new stuff, whether it's throwback from the 14 weekend, which made a lot of sense. If you I wore the old Lorenzo Cain shirt on Friday night. I hadn't worn that in a while. It seemed like a pretty good weekend to do that. But even just filling up gas, you look down the stall or whatever, and you see, there's something they're wearing. I didn't see that very often the last couple of years, Cody.
A lot of Chiefs gear.
Plenty of Chiefs gear. I'm just saying, maybe, I'm sure our friends at Rally House are noticing some people going in and buying some more stuff that Royals related. That's part of it. Your shirt says the vibes are great. The vibe in the city right now is great.
This was an intentional shirt choice today.
Of course. Well, tomorrow,
because the vibes are great.
And I'll say tomorrow we'll all be wearing the same MacArthur 9th Infantry shirts. That's happening tomorrow. Don't forget. The team's playing great. Since everybody freaked out about MacArthur, he's got, 4 saves in a row? He's got 11 saves on the season. So tomorrow night at the K, we're going to be out there, Lot H. Yes, it's going to rain during the day. At night, looks like we're going to be good for the game. And so we're going to be handing out some of the MacArthur 9th Infantry T-shirts from Raygun. Our friends over at Single Source Printing printed up that nice 9th Infantry banner. We're ready to go. Sections 150, Section 151, 152, right above the bullpen, supporting MacArthur, who will be also on the show tomorrow when we're out at the Urban Youth Academy. Don't forget, we've got the Let's Play Sports Equipment Drive going on, presented by Pinnacle Bank. And so we're going to be at the Urban Youth Academy accepting donations for that new or gently used sports equipment, and a chance to have MacArthur on the show. And we're excited. I mean, how can you not? 10 games above 500, man. I don't care how optimistic any of us were, about
I would
the
have not
improvement.
predicted this.
I mean, we know what we all thought our win total predictions were. We were all in the high 70s. This team is pacing well above 90. They're 10 games above 500. And I thought what James Shields had to say, going back to 2014, he was on talking to Joel Goldberg. I think this was Friday night maybe. And it was on Bally, and James Shields was talking about being around this team. Because remember, he was in spring training. He was out there with the guys in Surprise. And he talked about the vibe he gets from this team.
Anybody can win, and it's just a matter of what kind of culture you're bringing, what kind of clubhouse you have, and do you believe in yourself, really? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Everybody's talented on this field, right? Everyone throws 100, everyone can hit homers. That's not a problem, but if you actually believe in yourselves and you create this culture, you become a brotherhood in the clubhouse. That's exactly what winning's all about, and that's what you create. I mean, I walked through the clubhouse this year, and I was in spring training with these guys. This year's team, they do look a lot similar than what we had back there. So I'm really excited to watch these guys.
Well, I'll take it from someone that knows what it's about in the clubhouse on a championship team. I mean, I hope he's obviously right about that. It's the vibe he's getting. So much of it is about just how close the team is and the confidence. And you're clearly seeing that, and that's the biggest difference. Heck, we talk about fans feeling like they can win every single game. More importantly, obviously, do the guys in the clubhouse feel like every time out can they win? And it started with starting pitching. You feel like they can win every single game because the starting pitching gives them a chance just about every single night.
I mean, Seth Lugo had another 10 strikeout performance. He was an out short because of a Bobby Wood Jr. error of all things. He was an out short of another quality start, which was kind of perfect for Seth Lugo. But yeah, the starting pitching is exactly why they're in it. We've talked about this. They're top 5 in all of baseball in starting pitching ERA. The bullpen is what we mentioned on Friday, where they can make up some ground. But if you look at this weekend, they gave up 9 runs to the A's. 5 were just Matt Sauer.
Yeah, text line said it was a sour ending, Cody, to the weekend.
I don't care about that.
That's the text line.
He can give up a few runs if you're 8-1.
You get the text? You get it?
Very good.
You get it?
Get it? His name's Sauer.
Uh-huh, yeah.
This was one of my favorite moments of the weekend, by the way. So Vinny comes in to pinch hit. Q has some fun with it, and he's like, look, he was relaxing. We weren't even planning on using him, but a big moment. Comes in, bases clearing for his first ever major league triple. And this is what Salvi had to say about Vinny's athleticism.
He run like a truck. Oh, sorry, Benny. But now I need to get one. That's his first one, no?
Yeah. First for
Pretty good for him.
I don't think that's a compliment. Depends on what kind of truck and if you're moving downhill or uphill. I'm going to assume he meant like an 18-wheeler going downhill with no brakes or something. So thank you, Salvi.
Just like but you can tell when teams are loose and when they don't feel that pressure. You and I both, and I covered the Royals for an entire season when they won 56 games. You can tell when apathy is set in. You can tell when the stress of failure has set in. None of that seems to be the case with this team. That's what James Shields is talking about in 14. At some point when they started to click and they could feel like they were capable of winning and are going to win. The reason why they went on that World Series run that year, I'm convinced, is just because they got confident for a minute that they were untouchable. When they got untouchable in the postseason, they're like, oh, we can't be stopped. And just blind confidence sometimes can carry you somewhere. And this team has a lot of confidence right now because of, you mentioned the starting pitching, but a million other reasons.
Yeah, gotta love it. Gotta love everything you saw this past weekend out of Kauffman. They continue their series tonight against the Tigers. So divisional games, it's pretty obvious, even though the Tigers are behind them in the division along with the Twins. Still, these are big series in the AL Central. And the one thing they've been able to do is beat up on teams that I don't want to say they're all, it's not just the White Sox, but teams that are not above 500, teams that you should beat. Well, they've been handling their business and more against those teams. Schedule and all that sorts itself out throughout a season. I know you tweeted out something yesterday about looking ahead a little bit further, and we'll get to that at 11 o'clock. That stuff all sorts itself out. Later they got to play the Guardians in June. That'll be a massive, massive series.
Sure.
But all that, winning against bad teams, in the past, they weren't. They were the bad team. They were the team that people were beating up on. Not anymore.
They were like, all right, the Royals are coming to town.
Not anymore. They're expecting to win. We've said it over and over for not just now. We said it 3 weeks ago. There's nothing fluky anymore. None of that kind of crap. No, this is a good baseball team that's going to give us a lot of enjoyment, I think, throughout the next couple months. And hopefully it carries into October for the first time since 2015.
By the way, their win total is now over 500. I don't want to talk about how many games over 500, Drew. We don't need to get back into that. But
too early for math. It's too early.
Right.
But you were right.
You still think you're right?
No. I was right this weekend because somebody had said they're on pace for 97 wins, and I was like, that's 32 games over 500 if I'm correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You got it, Drew. See, you're good. We're squared away.
We are.
But between that, just the good play and the things with it. But when you start looking at what this weekend was, it's exactly what you wanted out of this team. It's what you needed out of this. And look, these next couple series are big because June is kind of a nightmare schedule-wise. We'll get there. Meanwhile, this weekend, can I just make one request out of the Kansas City Chiefs organization?
Uh-oh.
Can you keep yourself out of the news?
Oh, yeah.
For just 48 hours? Over the last month, the Chiefs have now had 4 news stories, all off the field, nothing to do with football, starting with Rashee Rice's car crash, several in between, and now the most recent, Wanya Morris getting popped for pot. I want to make one thing very clear. I don't care that he had marijuana. Doesn't mean anything to me. It's legal in a lot of places. They're trying to change what scheduled drug it is. I don't care. If he wants to have, but just don't drive around at 2 a.m. and break a different law to get pulled over with it. And just stay out of the news. Just figure out a way to not get caught with it is all I'm asking. It's not legal in Kansas. It is legal in Missouri.
Yeah.
So try not to get a ticket. That's all. So that Brett Veach doesn't have to take a phone call from you in the middle of the night.
I think you said it well. It's not the actual alleged crime. It's weed. I don't really care. It's the fact, though, that every week in the offseason, games are not happening until September.
Just stop making headlines.
Every week there is something. That's the annoyance. I don't think you and I and Drew, I don't think any of us care whether or not someone was possessing marijuana. It's the decision making of dude, what are we doing here? Yes, I understand that 10 minutes east of where he was, it was legal. But it wasn't legal, or was that? Just be smarter. Can we just not be dumb with some of the decisions? And can we find a way to not have the Chiefs off the field? There should be no Chiefs headlines in May. There should not be any.
Can we make it to August?
That's
can
all
we get
it
to
is.
training camp before we see another one?
That's it. I don't care that him and one of the other backup linemen and it was weed, but it's just the fact that on Friday, honestly, I was just more annoyed. I sent out a tweet on Friday. I was like, every week there's something, and someone's like, it's just weed. I'm like, yeah, I don't care that it's weed either. It's the point what you were saying.
It's just the getting in trouble part.
Every week, man.
I think part of it is just are we not learning from each other's mistakes? At some point, right? And look, obviously, if I don't want to compare levels of headlines because then we're covering a lot of different things. Some legal, some personal takes from other players, some involving other members of the team, all the things that are coming in there. Obviously, Rashee Rice's is the most, he physically harmed somebody in a very dangerous act. I'm not saying his crime. I'm just saying stay out of the damn news. That's all I'm asking, especially in what I think sometimes what I don't understand is really big off seasons for you. Two-time defending Super Bowl champions, massive offseason for you, just had a big rookie year. If you're Rashee Rice, why get in trouble? And then if you're Wanya Morris, got a chance to actually win the left tackle job, big offseason for you. Multiple other teammates have made headlines over the last 4 weeks. Is this really how you want to have spent your weekend? Having to answer for minor, look, again, the pot part of it, I don't care. You just got to find a way to stay out of the news. And maybe it's just because we're in Kansas City. Someone will always argue that. You could not convince me that the Chiefs don't get in disproportionately more trouble as a team off the field than other teams in football. Andy Reid, I've told you, runs a bit of a loose ship. He trusts you to make your first or second mistakes on your own, and then he mostly stays out of the way. By the way, Andy will have to answer, I'm sure, several questions about a number of these things when he speaks to the media for off-season, I don't know which version of this, level 4, 3?
Phase 3 today. I think we're in phase 3.
I think he's scheduled to talk to the media on Wednesday. So now what you've done is you put your boss in a bad spot. If Spec every week had to be like, someone's going to call today because Gold got popped for weed, so now I got to answer about that, and Cody was firing off some stuff 2 weeks ago, so this is no good. Every week I got to answer for you guys? Andy's going to just be in an annoyed mood on Wednesday. Prepared for, like, angry Andy.
Can we also give some advice? You know, I didn't realize we should have done this back around the draft. Can we give some advice? Because you and I don't really care, but just so we can avoid this, and maybe somebody, maybe a teammate can help out. Look, if weed's your thing, and you know you're just going to be smoking in the offseason or whatever, again, the league doesn't even test for it anymore, so it's not a big deal. Just live on the Missouri side. Just make your life. If there's a rookie coming in, anybody on this year's draft class, just work. If you're in town right now, you're driving,
and you like weed,
maybe you live in downtown KC Mo. Maybe you live in Lee Summit,
apartment at 2 Light,
North KC. Maybe you don't move to Kansas if this is something that you're going to be doing. No issue, but just to help yourself out.
At the very least, just know that there's a distinguished, like, that should be covered in, like, Cody and Gold orientation. You come up at training camp, and you talk to us at training camp. A lot of times we get the rookie players up there. You and I get a chance to talk to Luis Rees-Salmon. Hey, Luis, 2 real quick questions we end every interview with for the young players on this team. Do you like weed? And he's like, wait, what? I mean, yeah, most people do. And you're like, cool. Do you know that it's illegal in Kansas, but legal in Missouri? Great. That's all you need to know. You might want to monitor your behavior based on that. Or if you're going to partake, do it on the
and ultimately,
at home.
It's not going to have look. The NFL's not going to even do anything about this because they don't test for it. So it's more,
the NFL really.
It's the added on thing. It has no bearing on the left tackle competition or anything like that. It's just like you never like seeing a mugshot of a Chiefs player or anybody all of a sudden pop up on a Friday night because of something. That's what happened.
Also, who's still writing tickets for a little pot?
I don't know the exact circumstance of it. I don't
know. Come on. Can we do like the way, like when I got busted as a teenager with beer, it doesn't make them like dump it out and be like, come on, man, you can't have it. Like I had some cops like bust us for like drinking in a parking lot when we were in high school, and they make you go dump it out in the woods and be like, come on, dummies, you can't be loud enough that we can find you.
I mean, I think
you got to know that's the case. Can we cool it on that?
I mean, it kind of already is. They're misdemeanors. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Is this the cop that arrested Scotty Scheffler?
Do you even need to cut the ticket?
Is the question.
Do what now?
Is this the cop that arrested Scotty Scheffler?
No, it sounds like in that whole thing with Scotty Scheffler that sometime this week charges might get dropped.
I think tomorrow is what they were saying.
After all that, we kind of thought that was where that was trending. And just so happened there was no footage. We were saying, hey, maybe the footage will change people's mind on the Scotty Scheffler thing.
There's no footage.
There is no footage.
Also, wasn't the report that they're already planning on, the DA is already planning on dropping?
Dropping, yeah, we were saying they're going to drop.
Tomorrow, I think, is what the plan was, at least.
Because at one point, there was speculation that he was going to sue, but maybe drop the charges, everybody moves on, and just be done with the incident. Talking about Scotty Scheffler.
But that cop's pants are ruined. Who's paying for those pants?
It's $80 pants.
Oh, man. I just don't. It just...
there was more accounts.
That was such a weird
There was
moment.
another account that came out of it was like one of the photographers that were with Jeff Darlington. So we heard Jeff, and one of the photographers was in an article this weekend saying that in terms of how maybe wondering how did the pants rip basically, and initially claiming that maybe the officer was dragged. It sounds like this person's account was the officer had latched onto the vehicle of Scotty Scheffler somehow and tripped over like the median or the curb. So not necessarily dragged, but he did fall, and that's what caused maybe the injury.
And the ruined pants.
Yeah.
Should we use the show fund? Let's take care of this guy's pants.
The guy gets a random Venmo from
The one thing
from
always
Kansas City.
From Kansas City to cover his $80 pants.
I think the simplest way, once we were done talking about it on Friday about the Friday on the Scotty Scheffler thing, was if he actually had done something, assault a police officer, which was obviously something that you should be held accountable for. But if he had done that, don't you think the officers then at the police station who reportedly were friendly and made him a sandwich, don't you think they would have not been friendly if he would have actually tried to harm one of their fellow officers? That was, to me, the telltale sign that it was way overblown. They wouldn't have been nice and helping this dude out and making him food.
That was the funniest part.
If they actually harmed one of their own, I would assume.
That was the best part of the whole story
That's how we knew it wasn't
That's true.
I went through
maybe a little CYA,
Okay.
Just in case, you weren't there. You didn't see if the guy was drunk. So you're like, I'm going to keep things cordial. He's got a lot of money and can afford lawyers. We don't need that kind of trouble.
I think Scotty said, the cop.
What kind of sandwich do we know?
Well, he said I think one of the cops asked him if he wanted the full experience. And he was like, what does that mean? He's like, I'll make you a sandwich. And he made a sandwich.
I hope it wasn't. There was a whole thing this weekend on social media talking about, there was a British guy who was upset. He said, hey, if Americans call this a chicken sandwich, what do they call this? Because we call a chicken sandwich like a Popeye's chicken sandwich right on a bun. They call that a chicken hamburger, apparently, in Britain.
So what do they call a chicken sandwich?
It
Like
is
grilled slice?
It is prison food. It is the set. That's why I'm saying, if they made him that sandwich, he might have sued. It's just like wheat bread with dry-ass looking chicken in the middle of it with absolutely zero appetizing look to it. He's like, what do they call this sandwich? Trash. We'd throw that sandwich in the garbage. That's all. British people shouldn't have food takes. That's all.
A chicken hamburger. That doesn't make sense.
No, because we're in the United States. We don't call it that. That's what it is.
They call it a chicken sandwich. It's just some British guy.
Stay off the weed.
Yeah, don't even have to stay off the weed. Just, don't have to stay off the weed. Just have to know
be in the
where
proper
you're
place,
at.
yes.
Just know where you're at,
Any of you guys get in legal trouble this weekend that we need to know about? Maybe the Chiefs can cover you in the press conference on Wednesday, too.
We're good. We are good. Made it through. Drew, I don't know. Drew's most likely, I think, at this point to have some problems at this. Yeah, I think.
You think so?
I don't know. I'm the only person who's actually gotten in any kind of legal trouble. Drew did have to threaten to sue possibly his last apartment complex, like Scotty Scheffler. They also
we're
got
out of that,
They
though,
didn't
so
want
we're
that
good.
trouble. They didn't want that smoke from Drew, and they eventually let him out. They ever get back to you on that mold situation? They just stopped returning your emails.
Well, I'm out of there now, so I don't know what they did.
you don't care anymore, do you?
I don't know what they did, but it had gotten bad, and we are going to get the full deposit back and everything like that. So
I still think it's going to be a
We're
Camp
good there.
Lejeune situation. We're going to be running ads
15
like
years from now.
15 years from now.
Why? Because
did you stay at these apartments?
why? Because in 2 years I'm going to start coughing randomly, and
Yes.
Drew just doesn't. He
Your
can't stop
doctor's going to say,
coughing.
were you ever exposed to mold or
Did you have
whatever?
long mold exposure?
They're like, well, there was this apartment 15 years ago when I was in Kansas City, and I was at this apartment complex in Overland Park. That's exactly what's Cody's right.
Drew's eventually going to
I don't know if their budget will be the same as the Camp Lejeune legal team
They
budget.
might not be
Because those
running the
commercials
complex
are
anymore.
on 24/7 everywhere for the last couple, 6 months or a year.
I'm not have to pull up emails from 15 years ago to
Save those photos, man. Save the photos
forever.
just in case. You never know how that's all going to play out. Don't forget, as we were saying, what we got going on tomorrow. We're going to be at Urban Youth Academy. Also, we made the announcement last week. If you missed it, we've got our Cody and Gold garage sale coming back in June. That's going to be on June the 12th. It does benefit the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum again. So start thinking of which experiences. We'll have the website up here very, very soon. But ways to help out the museum. Any of the experiences you just maybe lost out on the bidding, we're going to have a majority of those same experiences back for this upcoming year. Because I know there was a couple of them that someone snuck in a bid at the 10 seconds to go on the timer, and you were all bummed out. We got those texts. So whether it's playing golf at Firekeeper, whether it's playing wiffle ball at Wiffle at the Hollow, we obviously had some opportunities to go have lunch and beers with Bink, all kinds of different experiences, plus the weird items that you have come to expect from the Cody and Gold garage sale. That's coming up on June the 12th. Up next, though, let's talk on the field a little bit, or who could be on the field for the Chiefs this upcoming season, based off of some recommendations from our friends over at Arrowhead Pride. That's next.
Hey, it's Brady Singer. You're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Are you ready to start feeling your absolute best? I've got the perfect solution. Stretch Zone, your destination for practitioner-assisted stretching. Whether you're an athlete looking to enhance performance or someone seeking relief from the daily grind, Stretch Zone's personalized stretching sessions cater to all levels and lifestyles. Unleash your potential. Let Stretch Zone guide you to a healthier, more flexible you. 6 area locations. Book your session today at StretchZone.com. Stretch Zone. Stretch, work, play, repeat.
Every so often in medicine, something comes along that is truly revolutionary.
Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, former orthopedic surgeon, now National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
I believe this is one of those things.
Dr. Scheinkup is talking about regenerative medicine, something he's practiced, researched, and written about for nearly 2 decades.
The old ways of dealing with joint pain, such as steroids and surgery, are no longer the best ways.
If you have pain from arthritis or injury, you owe it to yourself to learn more about this exciting option, using your own body's natural power to get lasting relief. And there's no better place to learn than QC Kinetics.
There is no one in this country today with more clinics, more satisfied patients, more advanced protocols, or more experience in using this exciting option to deliver life-changing results.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
All hands are on deck at Midwest Marine, Friday, May 24th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for their 10-hour sale. Rates as low as 6.99% with approved credit at Midwest Marine. No payments for the first 90 days. All signed deals get an in-store credit of $1,000 to use on parts, accessories, or service. Buy any new boat and receive a free Yeti cooler. The 10-hour sale, Friday, May 24th from 9 to 7, only at Midwest Marine. 13800 South Highway 71 in Grandview, Midwest Marine. We take pride in your fun.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Brakes? We can save you 15% on that. We have OE quality Duralast brake pads and rotors in stock, ready for pickup or delivery. We also have calipers, brake fluid, tools, and anything else you'll need to do the job right. When you get Duralast pads and rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's #1 brakes destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Memorial Day deals are here at Lowe's. Right now, save big on Scott's Naturescapes mulch. Get 5 bags for just $10. And there's more. Get up to 40% off. Plus, save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances. These deals are selling fast, so start shopping now. Lowe's knows summer savings. Valid through 5/29. Mulch excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Appliance savings vary based on purchase. See Lowe's.com for details. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save, because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
At T-Mobile, you can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, switch and keep your phone. We'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call.
If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Your favorite NFL team is getting ready for a new season of football. From OTAs to minicamp, the Odyssey app is your home for local sports talk and coverage all off-season long. Get updates on key storylines, rapid reactions, rookie reports, and more right on your smartphone. Plus, go back and listen to anything you may have missed live with Rewind. It's always football season on the Odyssey app. AUDACY. Download it today for free.
Brought to you by Kansas City Wynn Nelson's Plumbing Trade Show, Wednesday 10 till 2 at the Boulevard Drive-In. The Kansas City Wynn Nelson Plumbing Trade Show is this Wednesday from 10 till 2 at the Boulevard Drive-In. Over 20 top vendors like American Standard and Delta. See the latest products and chat with on-site experts. Get lunch on us from Too Hot to Handle Barbecue. WinNelsonKC.com.
This guy made some headlines.
Interesting choice.
We talked about this on this show. Our show stance is if you acknowledge they suck,
yeah,
then you
it's
can
still
just
a great
be like,
song.
"Eh,
It
it's a good
still
song."
is. I mean, it still is. I still think of Space Jam immediately. So
Yeah, me too. Imagine how many people are going to have to do this about Diddy now. Oof.
I thought you were making.
Did you see that video? Horrifying.
Yeah, really bad.
Also, the timing of the release of that, it's like his kid released a diss track about the FBI, and then 2 days later they released that video. Does that feel like an accident to you?
The FBI responded with their own diss.
Literally just like 48 hours after his kid released a diss track about the FBI making stuff up. They dropped that video.
I saw the apology video where he's clearly doesn't look like he's in the United States. It looks like he is clearly on some island somewhere, holding up, holding out, I guess, to see what happens. But yes, the video for those that don't know what you were referencing, was from 2016, and he's dragging and kicking his girlfriend at the time, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, Space Jam.
I thought you guys were talking about the weed situation, flying.
Oh, that's what you were going with? That's where you were going?
That's what you were referencing.
Should have gone with like Afro Man or something.
I thought that's what you were referencing.
I saw Afro Man had some.
I don't know words
something come out recently. Actually,
do you remember when he once released a video? It was a music video to a song because they broke into his house to execute a warrant because they were claiming he was dealing drugs and he wasn't. And so he released a music video of the Ring camera footage and then sang over it, essentially calling them clowns. They did not like that. They sued Afro Man for using the footage inside his own house. That was good stuff. Man, if you missed that, that was a good one. You ought to look that up.
I'll have to go
Pretty
back
funny.
and check that one out. I was keeping an eye on our friends over at Arrowhead Pride over the weekend, and they do these kind of off-season check-ins and fan pulse of the team, and they asked a bunch of different questions. Basically 95% of fans think the team is headed in the right direction. It's like political polling. Like, yes, the team is headed in the right direction. Do they think they have the right man in charge? Yes. My guess is those all came in pretty well.
The veteran who needs a new contract. Our guy Creed Humphrey, by the way.
That's right.
Number one.
One of the questions, though, was which position do the Chiefs most need to sign a free agent still? The options were running back, defensive line, and wide receiver. And this probably doesn't stun you, Cody. 45% said wide receiver still the position most in need for Kansas City.
If you had to sign, look, I'm not surprised fans say wide receiver. That makes sense. They had to spend an entire calendar year last year wondering whether or not wide receiver was going to stop the repeat champion from actually happening. It did happen. It didn't stop them from doing it by any stretch. I thought the missing thing on this poll was offensive line because I was asking myself the question, like, if I got to choose, the Chiefs going to sign one free agent today to make their roster better, and I got to decide today. No choices. Time is yours. I might still choose offensive line. Not knowing what I have in Wanye Morris and not knowing what I have in Kingsley Suamataia, if you just said today is the day, sign one free agent, I'd probably choose offensive line. I'd take my chances at defensive end, just assuming maybe they see something in FAU. If I knew he wasn't going to play well, then maybe my answer would be defensive end. Wide receiver, second, third, maybe fourth on my list, just depending. So much of it is a guessing game with the Rashee Rice thing, same as it is at left tackle, but I at least think I can get by at wide receiver if I had to choose today.
It's definitely not defensive line. I feel good about where they're at, even with a Medi Hughes suspension heading into this, or not suspension, injury heading into the season. Obviously, had the suspension last year. So that is not the position. It's still wide receiver because I told you when they brought in Zay Jones, I thought that was a nice insurance policy. They ultimately did not sign him. He's out in Arizona. I think now they're just going to wait until training camp. We've said that a few times. So I get why the poll from fans says that's what they need. I don't think they're going to sign anybody till much closer to camp, if they even sign somebody at wide receiver.
If you had to today, who would you go with?
Positionally?
You just had to sign one.
Positionally?
Running back, lineman, defensive
Still
lineman,
another
offensive lineman, wide receiver. Yeah.
I still would, because I also know that if Wanye and Kingsley Suamataia, if that battle doesn't impress them enough, and if they're concerned, whether it's Donovan Smith or somebody, they can go find a veteran at that spot. Wide receiver, the names that are available right now, the very few, will probably still be there 3 weeks from now, 2 months from now at camp. And so if they don't like what they're seeing as well from Sky Moore or Tony, I know fans have made up their mind and don't like what they saw, and they're already done. I get that. The team clearly is not, though. And so I think that could maybe dictate how they approach it. I just think you need an insurance policy because, one, Rice is probably getting suspended, and the sad reality with him right now is, Cody, I don't know if he's not going to have another problem that happens. I hope not. Truly hope not. But you don't know. I don't know how you can trust. Like, in between now and the pace he's on right now isn't great.
No. Look, again, I think we can all safely assume a suspension. The problem is that we're all guessing the length. So if you just have to, sign somebody, that's why I said offensive lineman. Is because if I'm making the same guess, hey, they don't know about Wanye and they don't know about Kingsley, and I just assume the worst case for both, as in Rashee Rice gets 8 to 10 games. I think that's probably worst case scenario. And the worst case scenario is they don't like Wanye or Kingsley to start. They don't think they're ready to do it. Well, then I like my coverage better at wide receiver than I like it on the offensive line. If they're forcing me to make a decision today, which is essentially what they're asking the fans in this poll at Arrowhead Pride, well then, I'll take the lineman and I'll just assume Hollywood Brown and Justin. Look, it's going to feel a lot like last year, a little bit better, I think, but a lot like last year in this, let's get a little bit of coverage, let's protect ourselves a little bit, and let's make sure that at least the offensive line is shored up out of there. I was a little bit surprised that Creed Humphrey got the number. I think Creed Humphrey is the guy who should get it the most. I kind of thought Nick Bolton would get a little more love. He was second, by the way, in that poll.
But I think Creed Humphrey is the most So even though the question was phrased as which player do the Chiefs most need to re-sign, I just think if I were to phrase it, who's most likely to re-sign between Humphrey, Bolton, and Trey Smith, then that's probably the answer as well. Because I do think Creed Humphrey is getting an extension this offseason as well. 47% said Creed. Nick Bolton, 29%. Harrison Butker, 15%. Trey Smith, 8%. Others, 1%.
Other? Who's the other?
I don't know. Other 1%. I wonder who that
Someone's just voting there to vote.
What other player? Yeah, I don't know.
Justin Reed? I'm confused about who the other is in this scenario. They want to retroactively give it to Tommy Townsend. I saw he was in this weekend for Kelsey Jam.
Oh, was he?
Tommy Townsend probably back on the KC apps for a day or two.
For 1 weekend only.
One weekend only. Tommy was back in town.
Swiping right again.
I miss Tommy Townsend, man.
Fun personality.
Yeah.
If you were to ask yourself the same question, or the same hypothetical where you're like, who do you think, who would you and who do you think is most likely to sign? If you did that with the offensive tackle wide receiver conversation or the position they upgraded, I think the Chiefs are more likely to sign an offensive lineman than a wide receiver, but I think I'm actually in the camp with Gold of I would sign a wide receiver because the pool of talent that's there is less at wide receiver if you're going to sign one than an offensive tackle. Are you
sure?
I don't know.
Just picking up starting left tackles off the street?
Yeah, I don't know if it's more likely that they sign I think it's more likely they also would sign a wide receiver than go and sign a tackle.
Well, the reason why I say that is because I think they are going to stick with Kadarius Toney, and if Rashid's not there, fine. We have Kadarius Toney on the roster. That's not a they're in that mindset, and we've seen that. So offensive tackle, you got Donovan Smith.
That sentence makes me feel a little sick.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Bakhtiari's still out there. Of course, he's injury prone. Jason Peters. You get Riley Reif out there. Dwayne Brown. There's more options where at wide receiver, you really just have Hunter Renfrow and Michael Thomas. And if you want to take a flyer on OBJ, take a flyer.
OBJ's in Miami now.
I'm sorry, correct.
He's gone. So,
So
you're
it's
down
just
to the
those two.
Renfros of and MVS. MVS is gone too. You're down to McCole Hardman. I mean, it's,
Where if you're going to sign one now, I would sign, if you want Renfrow or you think he can do anything, and you can always cut him later, pick him up because there's less options.
I just think you just wait. Just wait till camp. Somebody gets cut. Maybe there's a trade scenario with Burks.
I still,
you just wait till camp.
They totally missed the opportunity. If they were gonna, it looks worse if they upgrade a wide receiver later on because you had the chance to draft the guy or sign a guy earlier who you would have wanted. Where if you bring in Hunter Renfrow,
I think they tried.
Or do you actually?
They brought Zay Jones in for a visit, not just for the hell of it. He got probably promised more playing time in Arizona. He saw a path for him to go have, in his mind, a bigger year in Arizona because he would get on the field. There's no guarantee. I'm sure the Chiefs didn't promise Zay Jones a specific role.
Right, but I think that's why they should have drafted another wide receiver. Because if you bring in Hunter Renfrow, or do you actually believe he's going to do something, or are you settling for a player who's going to accept a wide receiver 5 role?
When you asked them to draft an extra wide receiver, they didn't know Rashee Rice was in trouble.
I thought they needed to do it before Rashee Rice even got in trouble because of the whole Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore thing. They needed another one.
Yeah, I mean, they knew about the accident before the draft, and I think Drew had wanted them to draft 2 wide receivers before the latest. Yeah. And by the way, let's remind everybody, the club issue, still no charges. We still may never see any charges because that seems way more weird, the details, maybe charges at some point, but right now there's still nothing. I mean, so other than, once again, being in the news, nothing has come of that yet.
So weird.
From what was it? Club Lit, or what was it? Lit Kitchen. Lit Kitchen. Sorry.
Lit
was definitely in the name.
Kitchen.
People still saying it's lit? Is that a thing still?
It's called Lit Kitchen, though. I don't know when that place opened in Dallas, but you ever been to Dallas?
Through Dallas.
I like Dallas.
Do you like it better than where you lived in Houston?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've said that for a while. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Houston. Dallas is a little cleaner.
Dallas
is a little cleaner city. No, I was in Dallas.
They are the same. They're in the same place, but there is I've got one of my best friends lives in Dallas, and there is a discrepancy of.
No, I'm talking about Dallas, the city of Dallas.
So East Side.
Sure.
I don't think he's got the whole city broken down. He didn't live there. He just lived a few hours away from there.
Yeah. And
Texas is also, it's hard to imagine how big of a state it is.
Not a bad drive up to Dallas, though, from Houston.
Yeah. But there's parts of Texas you'd be like, oh, you must have been right by that part of Texas. Like, no, nowhere near it. Right. Like 7, 8, 9, 10 hours away from it, actually, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
Isn't it like 10 hours across Texas?
Well, I don't know.
Just
Something
the
like
state?
that.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Like the same as driving across the entire.
Not as close to Dallas as you might think it is.
Or to like, what was the closest for a casino? Because casinos.
Dallas, or from Houston, you got to go to Louisiana. So you go from Houston, you drive 2.5 hours east to Lake
2.5 hours,
Lake Charles, Louisiana, or 2 hours to Lake Charles, and there's a couple. There's a Golden Nugget there, and
probably real nice.
A couple of those,
attracting all the people from Texas.
That's exactly where it is. A lot of people from Houston go over there.
That's not surprising.
What's his name? The guy from Houston made all the big bets. Mattress Mac. I remember the story with him. That's where he would go to make a lot of his bigger bets at times.
It worked out well for him over the years.
Well, the Astros are playing better. Maybe he's got a chance this year.
Yeah, better. They're still down.
They're only 6 under 500 now. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thinking of baseball, though.
I had eliminated them from the playoffs like a week ago. So
the Astros will probably still be in the playoffs. When it's all said and done.
Maybe. They're a very good baseball organization.
I mean, Kyle Tucker is still playing pretty damn good.
I was watching the Royals this weekend, and we could, we could do the same thing. Not the same thing, but we could talk Singer, and we could talk Lugo, and all the things that stand out. Singer stood out because obviously he had pitched. He had less trouble with his command, which means he didn't have to have 110 pitches in order to go 6 innings. He was less than 100 pitches, 10 pitches less. He only gave up 6 hits, only 1 run. He was great. 9 strikeouts for Brady Singer this weekend. No, what it made me think is not how great Brady Singer is, which he has been this year, and his 2.8 ERA or whatever. What it made me think is I am ready to risk it with Daniel Lynch again. I want him back with the big league club starting in the bullpen, even if that's what it takes. Because right now there's not a rotation spot open. Marsh has pitched really well. There's nobody else in the rotation you would take out from outside of that. But getting him back in the big leagues, or if there is an injury or when there is an injury, Lynch has got to be your first call because they seemingly in an offseason have brought Singer back. It's hard to remember what he was just last year, but where they have gotten them and where they've gotten a number of their other starting pitchers, Lugo and other guys and Reagans, with the starting pitching rotation, I'm ready to see Daniel Lynch again. And I think specifically the problem is I'd put him in the bullpen because I just want to work out a trade for Sauer so that he can just go back to the minors. They got to figure out a way to open up that spot so they can have one more quality pitcher in the rotation. And if they still believe in Sauer, that's fine. I don't blame them there. But he's not pitching well. He's a Rule 5 guy, so you can't send him down to the minors unless you want to just send him back to the organization he came from. So just work out a trade, pay cash, and get Lynch up to the majors and see if he can start getting outs. At some point, I'm going to want guys who used to be starters getting outs at the big league level somewhere.
My only question would be, all right, so at some point again, much like when Alec Marsh briefly was on the IL, somebody in the rotation is going to go on the IL again. Like, they're not making
and you'd rather just save him stretched out.
I need somebody that's already stretched out versus going with the bullpen game, in my opinion. So I wonder if that's part of the thinking. Now, later in the year, Cody, like much later in the year, I might be with you. Post-trade deadline, they weren't able to get who they thought they could get, and they just want a better arm in the bullpen. I'm probably more on board. We also, who else eventually is healthy in the bullpen and who's not healthy can maybe change my opinion on this. But as of now, I'd rather have Daniel Lynch stretch out.
Starting.
Let's say all of a sudden somebody like Alec Marsh has to miss a start or whoever has to miss a start due to an injury. I like having Daniel Lynch available and stretched out. And I know they were really pleased with what Daniel Lynch gave him for the one outing. Kind of was surprised a lot of people because remember, he was struggling in AAA.
JJ practically gushed when he came on the show.
Came up and gave him, 5 innings?
Yeah, no, it's not. Again, I like the idea of them being stretched out. I understand the appeal of that. But at some point, you're going to have to make a call this year in which you're just going to need the stretch out might have to happen over a start or two. Does that make sense? You take the 3-4 quality innings you get out of Daniel Lynch. You throw a couple of relievers behind him if he has to start filling it. If it's a long period of time, you'll get him up in 2 or 3 starts to the full workload.
But do I need that now? Do I need that now? Because you're right. Matt Sauer gets in kind of in mop-up duty, and obviously he's really struggled, to say the least. But you look at the rest of the bullpen, I know there's this perception that the bullpen just stinks. It doesn't. It needs improvement later on in the year, but it doesn't. I mean, Will Smith has been really good now in the role that he's kind of filled. Obviously, Schreiber, assuming he's good after getting hit with the line drive or whatever.
MacArthur's got 4 straight saves.
Obviously, our general, he's got 11 on the season now. I think he's still got the 3rd most in the American League. So the bullpen, Nick Anderson's been pitching a little better too. I mean, I don't think it's as desperate of a situation as sometimes people make it out to be. It is an area that I'm still feeling good that they can improve later if need be. And I think the answer is they're going to need to. If this team is still, let's say, right where they're at now, in the middle of a divisional playoff hunt here, then, yeah, you're going to need to bolster the bullpen. And I think the trade market is usually an area that's much easier to do that than any other position. There's always bullpen arms to go acquire. That's why I'm just not as panicked about the bullpen. I know you're not panicking. I just don't know if they need to do anything with Daniel Lynch and move him there yet. It's still mid or almost end of May.
This is more about my current belief that the Royals' major league pitching staff can fix anybody. And I'd be like, what, you're just talking about Sauer. He can't get outs. Okay, look, there are always exceptions to this. And Sauer's just going through normal major league growing pains. Most people thought he was a little early to get to the big leagues, but the Royals like the arm talent. So make the trade. Even if it's not that, maybe it's not Lynch. Maybe it's back to Will Klein or some other options. And again, it's not that Sauer's preventing them from winning. It's not even his take. It's that I have belief that the Royals, I want to see more starts at the major league level or pitching at the major league level from these guys that struggled from the Royals before from a starting end. Look, I'll be excited when Bubic comes around too. He pitched 3 shutout innings, I think, over the weekend in his rehab start. It's just about having those arms available to you because I think JJ had mentioned it to us 2 weeks ago, and he'll join us tomorrow on the show, that he didn't have to do it yet. You're right. This isn't hey, make this move today. But he had mentioned the same thing we talked about, which is at some point later in the year, when you need the arms out of the bullpen, you'll stop worrying about oh no, they're not stretched out, and you'll start thinking Daniel Lynch is my best chance to get an out at the big league level.
Later in the year. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's something
saying there's not a rush.
You wait until you're in July or later before you get concerned. And you mentioned Bubic. At some point, maybe Carlos Hernandez. I mean, they do have some other potential options as bullpen arms in-house down the road. I don't think they need to pivot to that yet. But naturally, a lot of this stuff that we talk about, man, a lot of it sorts itself out just because in 162 games
They've been
season,
very healthy.
Yeah.
Should we not? I mean,
knocking on wood.
I don't want to jinx, but like the
yeah.
Royals have been kind of remarkably healthy to this point.
No, don't keep saying it like that. I was just saying that. I was trying to say it as in, hey, at some point someone might get hurt, and Cody's like, they're the healthiest team we've ever seen in baseball. Like,
pretty
calm
healthy.
down.
You know?
We don't need to go that far yet, man. Things are
You want me to chill a little, huh?
going good.
And it's one of those things where you're like, just stop.
Yeah,
just pause while you're here.
man. We're good. We're
I
good.
would. I can't comment on people's health.
I'd be careful, you know?
I got in trouble once on this show, Drew, because I had said, you know, we were doing a training camp questions, and the question was over under 1.5 extra points made by Justin Reed in the entire season. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take the over. You know, all it takes is Butker twisting one ankle in the middle of an NFL game, and then, boom, he's in, and we're good to go. And immediately, Butker got hurt in a game. In the first game of the season, Justin Reed had to kick one extra point, not multiple. And so then I was immediately blamed for that. So
Lost the audio. We used to have it saved. It's not in the system anymore. But yes, that's the track record when it gets brought up on this show.
I mean, just...
It almost
so I've
came
got a
up-
bad reputation.
It almost came up this last season because I was referencing how he was on fire. Like Harrison Butker can't miss, and you're like, wait, be careful.
Yeah. And look, he kept hitting his kicks. So
Yeah, we did not jinx him.
No.
Last year.
No. He's got his own problems. When we... Hey, can I ask a question
Does he,
about...
though? Does he?
I mean,
It's
publicity-wise.
It's May. There's no, by the time we get to, we haven't really talked about this, but by the time we get to August, September, when games happen, nobody's going to care. And there's a lot of people that are in support of them, too. I was on in Cleveland this morning on our sister station. They, of course, wanted to talk about the Chiefs offseason and everything that's been going on with Butker here recently. I don't think it's a distraction per se because there's no game next week. I also think we've seen plenty of Chiefs fans have been very supportive of him. So that's the part where it's like, I disagree a little bit with what you said there, I guess.
Well, I think he isolated at least 50% of his fan base by his comments.
Right, but what's the consequence of that other than everybody has their
just
opinion.
people having a negative impression of somebody.
Right, but they're not going to be booing him.
No, the only thing that I think could have a negative consequence is for no reason at all, he tossed Travis Kelce into it. He had no business being in the middle of it, and by referencing Travis in the he had no reason to bring his teammate into the mix.
Right, but the one thing that has also been part of their success here is they are very close in the locker room, and we saw Chris Jones send out a tweet.
Yeah, we did.
Supporting Harrison Butker. What did he say? I love you, my guy, or I support you, my guy, or something like that.
Yeah.
That was that's the only player that's even commented publicly on Butker's comments from the commencement address. So I don't think it. If this was happening in week 3 of the season, I would buy into it. Maybe it's May, man.
Your argument is there's enough time for it to blow over for him,
and plenty of people support.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because yes, others don't.
Right, but the notion, just because you pop, I'm not saying you, just because you pop on X and see, that's not the real world.
No.
On either side of the issue, by the way. But it's just not the real world. We assume it's one of the most selling popular jerseys right now, Harrison Butker's. Right? There's a lot of people that agree with what he had to say. There's plenty of people that disagreed with what he had to say. Right? I mean, I think the 300,000 or 200,000 signatures on change.org for him to be cut are ludicrous. I think it's absurd. You have the right to your opinion. People can feel a certain way about you.
But by that same argument, what he says is the same thing. They're saying what they want to say. So what's the difference?
Because
they're saying we'd like him to be cut.
Because nobody's calling for somebody. So now
but he's trying to change someone's lifestyle. He's saying, live the life the way I want it lived. And now you're saying, they're saying, well, we don't want you on the team. It's the same thing. It's an opinion-based
I think
thing.
you're giving
They're
Harrison
not gonna get him
Butker.
cut.
I think you're giving Harrison Butker way too much credit if you actually think his speech is
Hey, you're
changing
giving
how people.
The change.org way too much credit. You think 30,000 people signing is going to actually get him cut?
No, I'm just saying it's someone the immediate reaction to disagreeing with somebody is fire his ass, and that to me is absurd. I'm not, by the way, full disclosure, I don't agree with 99% of what he said. I am saying I can't, and this is now we can't even have like a middle ground. It's like you either got to be on the extreme of he's the worst person on earth or the extreme of, he's the greatest guy ever and he knows better than you do. Nobody can just be what I would like to say in the middle on it, which is I disagree with what he had to say. I also have no problem at a private commencement address at a Catholic school in the area that he said that. That to me, and we can move on from that. People agree, people disagree on it. I just think the extremes on both ends of this particular conversation with Butker are crazy.
But the same as the change thing. It's just a personal decision to sign it. I mean, I don't think it has any weight. Butker's not going to get cut from the team because of it. It's just it's a way of expressing an opinion, similar to what we just talked about. So it should fall in the same, I don't know, weird gray area or whatever everyone else wants to put onto it. But yeah, I don't look, I assume my biggest stance was that he shouldn't have involved don't reference your teammates.
Maybe so. I don't know. Yeah, maybe so. Well, that might be fair.
That would be my, from a team standpoint, which is what you were asking. Or not, but what was being discussed at the time.
Yeah.
As far as May to now.
All right, coming up next, let's get back to the Royals a little bit, though. Clearly, right now, there's one team that everybody's going to be keeping an eye on. Is it too early, hard to be watching what's going on with somebody else in the AL Central? We'll explain the reasoning there. And one other issue with the schedule from last week with the Chiefs.
Cody and Gold.
If the Royals win the World Series, I will get, and you can mark it if you want, but
everybody knows
this tattooed on my body.
Who gives? We're winning games.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
More severe weather has been coming through the Kansas City area. Maybe you had some issues yesterday as the storm was blowing. I had friends, massive tree go down in their backyard. Sometimes that comes into your roof and you have those problems. You don't want someone just coming by your house saying, oh, I'll take care of it for you. Get a roofing company in Kansas City you can trust. That's Century Roofing. They've been doing business in Kansas City for 34 years and have been voted best roofing company in Johnson County by readers of the Shawnee Mission Post 2 years in a row. So if you're looking at it and you're thinking, did I get that hail damage a couple of weeks ago? Did that wind cause problems for my roof? You're going to want, again, a company who's installed 30,000 roofs in the greater Kansas City area. Look, the extreme weather's already happened, severe weather, and there's more coming over the next couple of days as well. So if you have questions about your roof or you want that free estimate, call my friends over at Century Roofing. Schedule your estimate today from KC Basin female-owned Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength, CenturyRoofingKC.com, and tell them that Cody sent you.
Bowling Warehouse is taking over KC with a mashup of football, bowling, drinks, and fun. And with 3 15-foot televisions in the hottest bar in town, there's absolutely no better place for watch parties, get-togethers, and happy hours. And what could be better than splashing down pins at your next business event or private party? Plus, Bowling Warehouse KC is convenient for everyone off 435 and State Line. Whether it's a fun night out or a way for your organization to unwind, make your reservation now at FollingWarehouseKC.com. It's time to fool around and find out.
The sun is out, the water's fine, and the crew is ready to party. Summer is here. Hy-Vee has everything you need to make a huge splash this Memorial Day. Fire up the grill and impress your guests with prime reserve steaks, chicken grillers, or specialty brats. Don't forget our ready-to-serve side dishes. Cool off with some tasty refreshments from our wide selection of beverages, wine, and spirits. Make a splash into summer this Memorial Day weekend at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee.
Hey, it's Kling. That time on the calendar is upon us, Memorial Day, a time to gather and reflect. Well, Hy-Vee's your one-stop shop for our Memorial Day celebrations. Patio furniture, gas and charcoal grills, and all the accessories. Grilling favorites, including prime reserve cuts of beef and Hy-Vee's famous specialty brats, like the pineapple or the jalapeno cheddar. Spend even less time in the kitchen with Hy-Vee's full-service catering or ready-to-serve meals, including ribs, barbecue chicken, and pork. And don't forget the huge selection of wine, beer, and spirits. One stop for all your Memorial Day needs, only at Hy-Vee.
As you prepare for Memorial Day, don't forget the Gates sauces and seasonings. They are great on all meats, fish, and chicken, veggies, and snacks, from hot buttered popcorn, assorted nuts, to a topping for your dips. And even sprinkle Gates seasonings on your chips for that extra pop of flavor. Nothing says Memorial Day like a Gates party tray. So stop by any of the 5 locations to pick one up, or go to your local grocer and bring the taste of Gates sauces and seasonings home. Gates Barbecue, a Kansas City tradition.
Kansas City area Catbackers. The Wildcats will be at the Pavilion at Theater in the Park at Shawnee Mission Park at 7710 Renner Road in Shawnee, Wednesday, May 22nd. The 6:30 program features Jerome Tang, football assistant Matt Wells, student athletes, new Alumni Association President Adam Walker, Willie the Wildcat, and the K-State cheer team. Food and drink trucks will be available, and there is no cost to attend. No RSVP is needed. Call 620-755-0978 for information. See you May 22nd in Shawnee. Go Cats.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
They say health is wealth, and I could not agree more. That's why if you or somebody in your life is living with everyday aches and pains, I want to tell you about Relief Factor. And I'm telling you, I can feel the difference. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. Naturally. Now that's a big deal. Developed by doctors. Relief Factor's unique formula of ingredients all work together to help support your body's response to inflammation. Instead of masking pain for a couple of hours, Relief Factor actually helps reduce or even eliminate your pain for good. Whether it's neck, back, joint, or muscle pain, if you're looking to feel better, live better, give Relief Factor a try. In 3 weeks, you will know if it's working because you'll feel it. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Save on your first order. Don't let pain tell you how to live. Fight back naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. The Cody and Gold Garage Sale is on Wednesday, June 12th, with 100% of the money benefiting the Negro League Baseball Museum. For a list of auction items and to make your bids, go to 610sports.com. KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Coming up in 20 minutes, we'll get to the trash of the day. I see the news this morning. I don't know when the last time you went to this specific restaurant, but Red Lobster filing for bankruptcy. Cheddar Bay Biscuits. I'm sure somebody else is going to eventually buy them or something, but they already were announcing they were closing some
over for
locations.
Red Lobster, huh?
I mean, I don't know if it's
Not how
over.
bankruptcy works.
Yeah, I don't think they're closing all their locations, but I hadn't been to a Red Lobster in a long time. Like, you're more of a seafood guy than me anyway, but
I don't.
Well, I'm just saying. Cody,
Yes, I like seafood, but I can't tell you the last time I went to a Red Lobster. So I am part of the problem for Red Lobster.
You're really like, I don't go to any seafood, and you're discriminating against Red Lobster. You know,
I think I went one time when I was in like the 4th grade, and I am dead serious. I have not been back to a Red Lobster since.
Yeah,
I went one time.
You weren't
and
the only one. Sounds like
Red Lobster, and look, this is probably a class system thing. I presumed Red Lobster was like where rich people ate when I was a kid. Like, that must be where fancy people eat. Look at it. It has like tablecloths and seafood. That's where rich people eat. We cannot afford to be going to Red Lobster regularly. That's not on the docket. I now recognize Red Lobster as not being that, but also, like, I don't know, I just picked other places to eat. When was the last time you ate at a Red Lobster? It's been...
I don't eat seafood, so...
25, but they have other food. I've heard the
I've
chicken's
gone there
good
one
at Red
time in my
Lobster.
life. One time in my entire life. In 33 years,
We're a huge part of the problem
I
here.
went to Red Lobster
I
one
likewise have
time.
been there only one time.
This whole show doesn't visit Red Lobster.
In defense of Cody and I, who like seafood more than you, Gold, there's a lot. There are better places to go to get seafood.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all. You mean that? You mean that in Kansas? You mean?
I mean, I also think there's better places to get a hamburger than McDonald's, but it doesn't stop me from going there.
Well,
Sometimes,
I mean,
you know?
I put McDonald's on the Red Lobster
I was
level.
gonna
See,
say-
that's a shot, man. Oh, man.
say.
There's a real story though that over the weekend I did see that they were expecting this was going to happen today. That their endless shrimp promotion was successful in terms of people went there, but it actually potentially caused an issue. Last summer, they made the $20 endless shrimp a permanent menu item, and that was not a good decision.
Oh, that was a bad business decision.
The
huh?
change cost them $11 million. Now, that's not what is the ultimate cause of bankruptcy for them, but yeah, that was not a good thing
That's
for
a
them.
lot of money.
How much endless shrimp were people eating?
And it says
It cost
that
them $11 million in shrimp?
here's the article. It says Red Lobster's latest major shareholder, Thai Union, a Bangkok-based canned seafood company, saw the promotion as a way to sell off the mountains of shrimp it was catching and turned it into an everyday item. And that union became Red Lobster's largest investor in 2020. The change cost Red Lobster $11 million.
Tough.
It says the bankruptcy filing sheds new light on the Thai Union's role in the endless shrimp mishap. They are investigating the circumstances of the promotion, which Red Lobster management opposed. So they're blaming it on the endless shrimp.
That's what took down.
Endless shrimp.
Endless shrimp. I remember they used to do it as a promotion like once or twice a year.
Uh-huh.
What the hell made them think to do it as a...
That's the story. This
oh,
company.
Yeah, but Olive Garden can give endless soup salad and breadsticks, and they're not going under? Blame all you want.
I think the shrimp's
I've
more
seen-
expensive.
Maybe, but I mean, they're offering three things. Soup salad and breadsticks. One, just shrimp?
Those breadsticks are cheap, I'm sure. Very good breadsticks, though.
Very good.
Very good breadsticks. When's
There's
the last
also-
time you went to an Olive Garden?
A decade.
Really? It's been about a year for me.
I would say
Been about a year, at least.
That middle. So what's happened for me, and I don't know if everyone agrees with this. That like middle chain restaurant, right? Chili's, Applebee's, Olive Garden, that like Cheesecake Factory. That like it's not like a local. It's not like a super nice place. It's like firmly in the middle. It's cost prohibitive. If I'm going to spend $60 for my wife and I to eat at an Olive Garden, I'll just spend $80 and go to a local restaurant, or I'll spend $100 and go to a nice one. Like if I'm going to spend $60 on some soup and breadsticks, I'm just going to go somewhere else. Like the price point doesn't justify the ends anymore for me. I feel like it used to be like, unless I'm going to, like you get a 2 for $20 deal or something.
Well, culturally, things have changed anyway. Like, I mean, there's a reason why Applebee's have closed a ton of locations. People just don't go to that style of restaurant anymore, or they go to the local one, like you said. I mean, and there's other factors. I mean, some food quality at certain places maybe is not the same as it was 15 years ago.
Someone does say endless shrimp does sound better than surplus shrimp,
Which is what it was.
Which is what it was. Fast casual dining, as someone called it. I was thinking that
That's
as
not
being
fast
Chipotle.
casual.
I feel like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's a level between that and the other.
Olive Garden's
I don't know.
not fast casual. You're right. Fast casual, Chipotle. It's going.
Five
Panda
Guys.
Express. It's
Yeah,
in
Five
fact,
Guys,
it's-
maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Red Lobster bankruptcy.
Like, what's Red Lobster? What's it cost? Like, if the show went to Red Lobster, what are we paying? What are we paying on a menu?
At least $60, probably.
$60? Yeah, I'm not doing that. Not for some
And when
Cheddar
you
Bay
include the
biscuits.
drinks in there, and I mean, yeah, probably.
I'll just look up a copycat recipe and make some biscuits. I don't know. They're just biscuits. They're not that hard to make. Biscuits are an easy.
This is here's real quick. This is what I overall agree with your point that hey, there's this level of certain restaurant like you might as well just do it yourself or whatever. But now,
there's a
man,
price point, yeah.
there at some point though, like any good menu item at a restaurant, Cody says, "Well, I can." Cody's like,
"Biscuits are notoriously
Cody's just
easy
like,
to make.
I can make that." Like, man, the rolls at Texas Roadhouse with the cinnamon butter are incredible. Because like, I can just do the same thing. Just any.
Never try to make cinnamon butter. I don't know if I can make this.
It's great.
I'm not gonna
It's so
churn my
good.
own butter.
It's so good.
You enjoy being in the kitchen, Cody?
Yes. Oh, you were getting back into this now?
Well, let's wait till. Let's wait.
I did not say anything. I just asked you. I just said you enjoy.
I do.
What is your favorite? Okay.
If I get a Red Lobster biscuit and then I make my own Cheddar Bay biscuit, will you do a blind taste challenge?
Yes.
Sure.
I'll do that.
I mean, I've had Red Lobster. I don't know if I've ever even had the damn biscuits.
You just tell me which one's better.
Sure.
All you care about is which biscuit tastes
That was where I was going
better.
with this. Is I think you are challenging all these other places. You're challenging the major food chains. That
Cody
you
versus
can
the
make,
world?
Yes, you can make better biscuits than Red Lobster.
We tried on the Reese's peanut butter cup, and it ended up with a green onion in it.
The taste was just as good.
What happened?
And also we didn't have a taste comparison. All right, back into the Royals for just a minute.
We should.
Although they're saying Red Lobster is okay for a first date, or they're asking if it is, Gold. Would you take a girl to Red Lobster for a first date?
No,
not at your age. Maybe 22.
No. I told you, we've talked about this with other
drinks,
national chain first date. Like you wouldn't go there. No.
Unless you knew it was their favorite spot. If their
I'll be
Tinder
honest.
profile said Red Lobster's my favorite spot, love me some
Cody,
Cheddar Bay
I don't-
biscuits.
If they say that,
Can I be
is
honest
that
with
a
you
red
though?
flag?
If that was the response immediately, it's probably just not going to work.
Wow. She just put love me some Cheddar Bay biscuits on her, and you won't take her to the spot she likes?
He's not even taking her out.
In her Tinder or Bumble profile, it says, "I love Cheddar Bay biscuits. Take me to Red Lobster on our first date."
That's a no?
I'm probably just not. It's probably not the type of person I'm wanting to date. You know,
As someone who has a gutter palate, I don't think you should be critical of their choice of Red Lobster. Anyway.
Wow.
Moving on to the Royals. I was looking at the standings this weekend because obviously we're checking because the Royals are winning every game. You're like, they must have caught up some ground. No. Guardians swept the Twins, so still remain a game and a half up on the Royals. Are we down to 2 teams in the Central? Are we down to just, hey, it's Royals and Guardians and I only need to track one team? Do I have to wait till I get to this weekend's series first? They take on the Twins.
Yeah, look,
because they got a 4-game lead all of a sudden on Minnesota.
it is fun to already be caring and keep an eye on the standings. And admittedly, I have checked it as well and seen where things stand. They haven't even played the Guardians yet, and they really haven't played anybody in the division all that much other than the White Sox. Yeah. So, yes, it is too early for me to definitively say it's a 2-horse race. It could shape up to be that way. The Royals and Guardians have been the 2 best teams in this division. There's a reason why they sit where they sit, and I can't wait till they play the Guardians. It will be a massive series, but I think it's early. Even if we think in July it ends up being this, for us to be like, all right, don't worry about the Twins anymore. I think that's a mistake to already say the
so
Twins
like,
are out
see
of
ya,
it.
Twins.
Yeah, it's just things change. The Twins already at one point this year won like 11 or 12 in a row, didn't they?
And they're still only barely 500.
But I'm just
so like they already went through their hot streak.
But they're capable. Like we've seen them flip the switch, I guess is what I'm saying. Right now it's shaping up to be a 2-team race, but I think in any division saying these are the only 2 teams that can win it on May 20th is a little premature.
I will say this about the Twins is that they might have just had one good season and managed to win out in a bad division. The 5 years before, they were they went to the wild card in the COVID year. Okay, so they won. They were 36-24. They were a good team that year. 73 the year after that. 78 the year after that. 87 this year. Is a drop off back into the low 80s all that out of hand? Doesn't seem all that crazy based on their win percentage, unless you just think they were going to get a little bit better every single year. Maybe one of the most impressive things about the Royals, by the way, is they have not needed that Twins-level winning streak to get to 10 games above 500.
True.
They've not gone on some 8-9, 1-9 of 10, 1-13 of 14. They have just won twice, lost one, won twice, lost one. Like, that's pretty much been their season. Here's a 3-game winning streak sprinkled in. Here's a 3-game losing streak sprinkled in. They have not had any big swells or big peaks where it is starting to feel that way to me. I'll say this. I'm probably a little too early to crown it. But if they go through and they take 2 or 3 against Minnesota and put them, and now they're 7 games back of the Royals and 9 games back in the division, and we're almost in June, it's going to be easy to start saying it's a 2-horse race. It's going to be easy to look at Guardians, Royals, and say those are the only 2 teams that matter. In this division, not in baseball.
The actual odds right now, as they continue to update every day, is over at FanDuel. Guardians plus 115 to win the AL Central. Twins 2-1. The Royals plus 380. So the Twins still have better odds than the Royals to win this division, despite what we just said, which is where the Royals sit. Also, to make the playoffs, the Royals
bookmakers hate the Royals.
Plus 136 for the Royals to simply make the playoffs. And their updated win total over-under is now 83.5. That is a full 10 games better than what their preseason win total was at.
pretty good.
Speaks to where they're at, and they're obviously 10 games above 500.
Again, the fact that the Royals are even just like borderline even money to make the postseason now, that tells me everything I need to know. I mean, plus 136. We're bordering on even money odds in order to get the Royals into the postseason. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
The opinion on them has changed dramatically.
I will say someone brought it back up, and not to get into the full 500 conversation again, but someone did bring up a fair point with that. Because we went through the whole thing with Drew and like how we talk about it, and my thing was more about the pacing didn't make sense.
Yeah.
It is true at the end of the season, though. There is some truth to this. At the end of the season, if a team has 88 wins or whatever, usually most people will say they finished 7 games above 500.
No, that's not accurate.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
They're wrong.
Cody. No, right now, at the end of the season, people will say, because everybody knows 500 is 81. And so people, if they win 88, will say they finished 7 games above 500, not 30-something games above 500.
30 if they get to
20,
88, it'll
whatever.
be 15
yeah,
or
whatever.
If the Chiefs go 12
So
and
that
5,
I actually agree with Drew on. I think that is, if we fast forward the conversation on October 1st, and the Royals finished with 92 wins, I do think people will say they finished 11 games above 500.
If the Chiefs go 12 and 5, they
I think
finish
they'll say
7
14.
games above 500.
I think if they finish 88 and 74, they'll say 14 games above 500. I do not think they'll say 7.
Oh.
And we're talking different sports. I don't need you to get football mixed up into this. That's
Because in football,
football, it's different. I was never arguing football. They argue it differently. My argument is always the math is very simple. If the season continued on, how many consecutive games would you have to lose in order to be 500?
I'm saying how they talk about the end of the season. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying.
And also in football, they don't even talk about it that way. Nobody in football
now
says
it's unbalanced anyway.
But nobody in football ever says they finished when the Chiefs were finishing 12 and 4. Nobody ever refers to a football record as they finished 8 games above 500. There's too few games. Nobody cares how many games above 500 you are, unless it's one game above. Yes. Nobody talks about football schedules at all in and above 500. That is a baseball and basketball specific in NHL.
Isn't if they're 12 and 5, the Chiefs finish 7 games above 500? That actually help. That is the argument that you're making, Cody.
No, I'm saying nobody talks about football. I've never heard anyone refer to football like Chiefs finished 8 games above 500 this year. And nobody ever said they finished 6 games above 500 because they're 6 games above the 8 mark.
I know, but
nobody's ever referred to a football schedule that way.
But that's the conversation. If you finish 12 and 4,
I shouldn't have brought it back.
If you finish 12 and 4,
Text line texted something.
The conversation always was if you finish 12 and 4, you finish 8 games above 500. That's
Correct.
wrong. No, but that's wrong.
It's not wrong.
Because
it's still right.
Well, because if you're hang on, if you're 8 and 8, you're 500. So. According to what you said, according to what you said, Cody,
you seem to still be confusing the fact that for every win, it's worth 2 games above 500. I know that's a complicated system, but that's the system. It's for every game
I'm
you
trying
win.
to help your argument by what you're saying, though.
I'm just saying nobody. I have been watching and covering football my entire life. I have never once, even when Jeff Fisher, Mr. 9-7, even when Jeff Fisher was going 9-7, I never once ever anyone refer to as either 1 or 2 games above 500. They just said he was 9-7. There aren't enough games to be discussing above or below 500. Could you imagine if 4 games into the Chiefs season, they're either 500 or they have a record. They're either 500, they're 2-2, or they're 3-1, or they're 1-3, or they're 4-0. Nobody says 4 games above 5 that. It just doesn't exist in the NFL.
All right, we're done with the math quota for the week. Thank you.
My kid got a mathlete award at school, by the way, last week. Nice. Which felt very appropriate in timing.
Someone best described it, by the way. They're just saying the same turn of phrase can have different meanings based on context. I think at the end of the season, people do address it differently. I think in season, like we are now, we all say 10 games above 500, and that's it. I do think at the end of October, end of September, early October, people reference if you're 83, they would say you're 2 games above 500. I do think that is something people say at the end of the season. Season,
by Drew's argument, that'd be 1 game above 500.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Or no, wait. I guess they're 82. Yeah, okay.
I have no further comment on this. I'm confused. We're done. We're done.
All right, here, I'll make it real simple, and then we'll move on. Whatever the Royals' biggest number is at the end, let's say it's like 95.
I know. Subtract
that from the smaller number.
I know.
And then that's your number above 500. We solved it. Oh, we get hung up on silly stuff sometimes on this show.
Never. That never happens.
This segment alone. No. Biscuits and now this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. I'm just like football. Have you ever heard anyone say that?
No, not really. It's just because
it's less games.
Because it's less games.
Okay. Well, that's all I have for you. Should we get to the trash of the day?
Besides that was trash, I think.
Trash of the day.
Has to do with food as well, though.
Oh, great.
Not Red Lobster.
Something I can make or no?
This is usually dangerous territory for me anytime we talk about food on the show.
Sure.
This one has to do with McDonald's. Maybe you can get it at McDonald's right now. They're releasing a new McFlurry.
Okay.
McFlurry, remember, at one point was a limited menu item way back in the day.
Sure.
Summer only. Then it was so popular. Now it's year-round unless they're cleaning the ice cream machine, They don't want to make one.
Which I learned why that happens so often. Why there's problems with it.
Why?
Oh, because McDonald's as a licensee, like if you own a McDonald's location, you are required by the contract to use just this one type of machine. They don't have enough bodies in that company to service all these machines.
Okay. Anyway.
Can't have a different ice cream
They
machine.
announced a Grandma McFlurry. It's a new item. Grandma, you can go there and say, I want the Grandma McFlurry. It is available for a limited time starting tomorrow. And it is vanilla soft serve, like the original, made with, quote, a delicious syrup in chopped pieces of candy, according to the press release. And the flavor is expected to be basically like a butterscotch crumble.
Okay.
That's the speculation.
I mean, yeah, like a Werther's candy. Is that what they're going for? Like a butterscotch in your pocket
It says
kind of
the
situation?
Grandma McFlurry tastes like a trip down memory lane. We're excited to give our fans the experience while honoring the grandma figure in all our lives. I don't like butterscotch, and so Werther's and all that nasty.
Yeah,
But,
that's not going to be there.
Regular McFlurry, a little M&M. You ever get the Heath ones? Those were good.
Yeah, Heath is better than butterscotch. Am I crazy for thinking that they're just doing this to try to create another social media craze like they got on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter before with the Grimace Shake? They're hoping people are going to like dress up like a grandma and eat this thing. This feels like when a marketing idea that got out of their hands and worked well because of that, and they're like, let's recreate that, and they're just worse at it than teenagers trying to create their own trends. Because do you guys remember the Grimace Shake thing? It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
It was like, it'll kill you, and then it was like a whole social media thing, and then, like whatever. They're trying to I think they're hoping, Gold, you'll create a social media account on the 610 Twitter account where you're dressed up like a grandma in a sweater and glasses with the little like pearl chain behind it, eating the Grandma Shake.
Maybe
And it's just
you're
not,
right.
it's not going to just come out of nowhere.
I also just don't know, I get what they're going for, but the name, I'll have a Grandma McFlurry. It just doesn't.
I'm not going to order that.
It just doesn't sound like, no. No. You know what I mean?
What would be the difference? What would a Grandpa McFlurry look like?
It's a good question.
Shot of whiskey in it?
Yes.
It's the same thing, but it just gets like booze.
Can McDonald's do that?
Not here, not in this country. In other countries, they can serve alcohol.
Really?
Yeah. Also, like some places like Shake Shack serve, I can get booze at
Hang on,
Chipotle.
is there like a law that, or is like what holds them back from doing that?
Great question. Maybe they can, and I just don't know it. Or maybe in different cities they do it.
What, you want McDonald's to offer alcohol?
Sure. What do I care?
Just get a Happy Meal and a Happy Meal for the kid, and I'll just take
I'll take a 6-pack while he plays in the play place. Let me see what I can knock out. They offer they have 10 taps at Chuck E. Cheese. You're telling me I can't have a beer at McDonald's?
I just don't think it's a good name. Like I get you want to say it's like the theme of Werther's and like it reminds you of Grandma or whatever. But calling it Grandma McFlurry, come on McDonald's. They're usually creative. They can do better on the name. That's all I'm saying.
I also just think that they might need to change it. They've got a bad ice cream reputation. Like you
I
said,
think the McFlurry is good, though. Regular
The first thing you
McFlurry.
think of, though, is that the machine's not available to you.
Sure.
That you can't have it. The first thing you not think of is, ooh, I want that delicious ice cream. The first thing you think is, do they even have the ice cream I want? Like, to go get the Grandma McFlurry, I got to convince
I still think
myself.
the biggest thing they haven't had in years. You know what I used to love? This was like when I was a kid. They don't have it, the twist cone, man. They don't do the twist
use
anymore.
like the good
now
soft
they
serve.
simplified it, and it's of course just vanilla. But no, the twist, you got the half chocolate, half vanilla. That was a great thing. Why did we get rid of that, McDonald's? Why did we do that?
Oh man, cost of doing business, I guess.
Probably wanted to make it
More
easier on
expensive.
them. It was probably easier on them, right? Just have one flavor, one thing to clean out instead of two separate ones. That's the twist cone.
Is it really that much more
You got
complicated?
best of both worlds, man.
Someone says the Taco Bell in Vegas sells liquor.
Well, they have isn't there one near Westport?
Yeah, the Taco Bell Cantina.
Cantina. That's the same. That's the one that sells liquor too. It's the same concept. And there's a Burger King. I don't know if it's still open down in Power and Light area.
There used to be.
There was. Yeah, it's
Maybe
not.
there still is. I don't know.
And it was
The
like Whopper bar. Yeah, and I think there was.
So it's not.
Maybe,
It's not against.
do you remember
the
this,
rules.
Drew? Or you don't remember it? But did you know? Have you heard of this?
No.
I'm guessing their franchisees don't want to deal with like getting liquor licenses, finding people old enough to serve.
Maybe some more money though.
I'll have a 6-pack, or I'll have a 6-piece. I'll have a 6-count nugget and a Bud Light. I don't know. It just sounds. It just.
Well, I don't think they'd serve you like an open cup out the drive-through. I just think that that has to be an in-building purchase.
Right.
Which I'm only eating inside of a fast food restaurant like that if my kids are. Like,
Oh yeah,
playing
when's the
play
last time
place.
you sat inside of a fast like?
Well, I have because I've taken my kids to like the
yeah.
play place.
I could
But
tell you the
outside of
last
that,
time. Last time I actually
road
sat
trip.
inside of a
Road trip.
McDonald's.
A road trip, maybe, right?
Maybe even then though, I still might just road trip. You just have the bag next to you and you eat and drive. You want to get to where you need to go if you're on a long road trip.
I usually will stop in, kill the 30 minutes, stretch your legs,
Yeah,
eat, go to
that's
the
probably
bathroom.
the right way to do it. But I don't know. It depends on if you're with a group of people. If it's just
Sure.
you, you just throw
If
the
it's
bag in
just
the
you,
car
yeah.
and go. You know.
But if it's a group of 4
if you're
people.
on, if you're driving, and you stop at there's a McDonald's or a Wendy's. Or
Did
something,
you guys just get drive-through when you drove it to Green Bay? Or
What did we do? No, there you go. It wasn't fast food though. We stopped at somewhere in Iowa to eat. It was like a Chipotle knockoff, by the way. They only have up there.
They
It was
only have
all
it there?
I think it's only in that region.
Okay. Wasn't like Runza or whatever, right?
No, that's
Nebraska.
Nebraska thing. Runs is another one. Just it's all right. They love it in Nebraska though. There was a Runza in Lawrence, but someone said that's not a fair representation of Runza, as if like it's a bad one. I don't know if that still exists anymore.
You got to get it closer to the source.
Yeah, there you go. That is the trash of the day. Up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. One more thought about the Chiefs schedule and the annoyance of what keeps happening. We'll explain next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
There is a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
On your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
With summer fast approaching, you're going to want to look your best at the pool and lake. And back in November, I was nowhere near ready for either. I was sluggish, my workouts weren't great, and I was carrying around extra weight. I stopped by Supplement Superstores and told them I wanted to lose 10 to 15 pounds. Almost a half year later, I'm down close to 30 pounds and feeling great. There isn't a day that goes by where someone doesn't tell me how good I look. And I'm not going to lie, it's an amazing feeling. Since that November day when I walked into the Ward Parkway location of Supplement Superstores, I've dropped weight, improved my workouts, and have more energy now than ever before. I'm using the Flashpoint Complex. It's a refreshing drink in the morning when I wake up that gives me sustained energy all day long without the jitters. Then, right before bed, I have another refreshing drink that helps me recover from the day and helps me sleep better than ever before. So when you're ready, stop into any of the 8 Kansas City area Supplement Superstores and tell them I sent you. You'll get 20% off the Flashpoint Complex. Supplement Superstores, when you're ready to feel your best.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've all seen them. As soon as the big storm comes through, the storm-chasing roofers show up. Don't be a victim twice. Call locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. No one protects your home and you like JR.
JR's there for you. You're always better with a roof from JR.
In fact, JR & Company can let you know if you even need to be worried about storm damage. Online, visit jrhailcheck.com. Plug in your address and we'll pull a storm report. If there's nothing on the report, we'll give you hassle-free peace of mind. And if it looks like you got hit, we can come out and do a free inspection and help with any insurance claim. We'll never try to sell you a roof you don't need. But if you do need a new roof,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
go to jrhailcheck.com.
Dingers, blasts, moonshots, whatever you call them, everybody loves home runs. And with FanDuel's Dinger Tuesdays, you can love them even more. That's right, Dinger Tuesdays are back for another season on America's #1 sportsbook. Just bet on a player to homer, and FanDuel will give you $5 in bonus bets for every home run hit during that game, as if you needed another reason to love the long ball. Visit FanDuel.com/610Bob to get in on all the Dinger Tuesday action. That's FanDuel.com/610Bob. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball and 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $25 per game. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hi, Kansas City. This is Kevin Harlan. I know being a champion means you're a leader in your field and you always rise above your competition. That's why when summer temperatures get extreme, our home has a Champion air conditioning system that keeps my family comfortable and cool. Get peak performance in your home by finding a local Champion dealer at championhomecomfort.com. Ask about our special financing options with rates as low as 0% and our factory-backed extended parts and labor warranty. Always leading, never compromising, championhomecomfort.com.
Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician. Dick Ray is a man on a mission. When it's hot and humid, your AC's failing and it's causing quite the fuss. There's an AC expert you know that you can trust. He's there for us. Call Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician.
Hi, it's Dick. Get 0% for 25 months on everything at Dick Ray. Call 913-DICK-RAY.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Brakes? We can save you 15% on that. We have OE quality Duralast brake pads and rotors in stock, ready for pickup or delivery. We also have calipers, brake fluid, tools, and anything else you'll need to do the job right. When you get Duralast pads and rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's #1 brakes destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Family Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. It's time to get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data, and you get to choose who joins your family plan starting as low as $25 a line. Does it have to be family? It can be family or people you like.
Get more lines and more savings. Switch to Straight Talk for family plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Brakes? We can save you 15% on that. We have OE quality Duralast brake pads and rotors in stock, ready for pickup or delivery. We also have calipers, brake fluid, tools, and anything else you'll need to do the job right. When you get Duralast pads and rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's #1 brakes destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Brought to you by Kansas City Wynn Nelson's Plumbing Trade Show, Wednesday 10 till 2 at the Boulevard Drive-In. The Kansas City Wynn Nelson Plumbing Trade Show is Wednesday 10 till 2 at the Boulevard Drive-In. Over 20 top vendors like Milwaukee and A.O. Smith. See the latest products and chat with on-site experts. Get lunch on us, courtesy of Too Hot to Handle Barbecue. More info at WinNelsonKC.com.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Thank you, Mitch. And a little bit of Chiefs news during the break is Phase 3 of the offseason is officially...
How many phases are there?
I don't know. 5?
Should we know that by now?
4? Training camp is next? I have no idea.
Is
phases.
training camp a phase, or is it a separate thing that's its own phase?
We're going into a lot of semantic type stuff today, and like really nitty gritty stuff that I'm sure is thrilling to so many. It's phase 3. That's all I know. Okay, and Adam Schefter just put out a tweet that said, with OTAs beginning today, wide receiver Rashee Rice will be attending and participating in all activities, according to a source. So that is good news. I honestly think it's just good news that he's back in Kansas City. Frankly,
away
just
from
be
trouble
in
for
Kansas City and keyword organized activity. For him, organized activity, like normally we make fun of like OTAs, like for him, organized might actually be a good thing.
In a weird way, you're describing it the way like most of us parents describe how we're going to keep our kids busy in the summer. Like, okay,
well,
what are we doing? We signing them up for like art classes? We putting them in acting? What are we doing here? What are we putting them in to keep them busy so that they're not bored and making me nuts? And look,
or getting in trouble.
Or getting in trouble. My kids are a little too small to be getting in regular trouble. They can't get anywhere without me. But
that's what you think for now. That's what you think.
My daughter spends like 60% of her day after being home from school sitting outside listening to music, dancing on the screen porch.
Okay.
That's a huge chunk of her time right now. The younger one, literally everything he does has to involve you. You are an active member of this. Yesterday, he made me for 45 minutes straight draw pictures, then he would color them in. So I would draw like a black outline of something, his toy or whatever. He would then color it in. And then he would either give me a green check mark if he thought I did a good job, or a red X if he thought I did a bad job. That was for like 30 straight minutes yesterday.
Nice.
No, but I think for Rashee Rice, I'm not surprised. Of course he's going to participate in these team activities because until he's kicked off the team, the Chiefs have proven
or suspended.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Until he's suspended by the NFL, the Chiefs have proven time and time again. They will make them an active member of the team until the league makes its decision. This always goes back to the same thing. For anybody who thought they might cut Rashee Rice over this, that would usually come in the lying or the continuing to get in trouble, not which he tried to do, obviously, with whatever's happening at that nightclub. And like we said, there's been no charges filed in that case. He's going to have to earn Andy Reid's trust back. Showing up to every voluntary, involuntary, every single thing you can show up to now, probably a good idea.
There was a video over the weekend where he was practicing or whatever, working out with Hollywood Brown as well. I just think him being around the team again and being around teammates and in some form of organized activity, honestly, is a really, really good thing, specifically since it's in Kansas City and it's not down in Dallas. Because remember, he didn't have any problems in the season or anything like that. It was when he got back to Dallas. So hopefully that's a good thing for him. And we'll keep an eye on OTAs later in the week. Expected to hear from Andy Reid as well. Wrapping up the schedule stuff. That was last week, but wrapping up a little bit of looking ahead to what this 2024 three-peat quest is going to be. One thing is clearer than it's ever been, even if we were all rolling our eyes at it anyway, which is when you see how the whole entire schedule is put together, Chiefs or not, we know they don't give a damn about safety. They're just not trying to hide it anymore.
I think this kind of like, I had more time to kind of like sit on the schedule this weekend. And more what happens is you get around friends or family, Gold, and they're like, what do you think of the Chiefs schedule? And what about this stretch? And who are they going to beat in these games? And all that. Player safety is a joke. This is my whole problem with like the Guardian cap. Is that, yeah, you can tell players to put it on, and there's small amounts of research that suggest maybe it's having an impact. So, you know, there's no harm in putting it on and trying, but they have large amounts of research to suggest playing football in this amount of time is horrifying for you. And I don't care. Warren Sharp put out a stat that over the last 5 years, there was not a single team in the NFL who had to play 3 football games in 10 days because it is objectively bad for your health. Your body does not have enough time to recover from a football game to play in it. There are 9 teams, Chiefs are not alone, 9 teams in the NFL this season who have to play 3 football games in 10 days. What the hell are we doing? Stop lying to me about player safety. They do not care. They'll never care. They'll hide it under the guise of kickoffs or guardian caps, the things that are visual and you can pretend like you care, but then the actual things you can make a tangible difference with, we're not going to fix that.
No, I agree. I mean, it's been clear for a while, and now the scheduling, they're not hiding it as much. I will say this, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be striving for safety or anything like that, but the one thing with the players now, the additional money from streaming and all that, like ultimately it's causing the cap to go up, which is ultimately causing players to be compensated at a very, very high level. So that is always also part of the conversation to remember. But yeah, of course. I mean, if there's more money to be made, even if it means there's going to be fewer times between games, they're going to move forward with that. And the NFLPA is to blame for this too. I know we always.
Oh, they accept it.
They have, if they really wanted to put a stop to it years ago or whatever, they could have. Now would have required.
The NBA PA keeps fighting for like back-to-backs and stuff. That was the whole thing. Remember?
The NFL would have required players to be willing to sit out games and things like that, and that's not the level they've been able to get support of within their own union to do that. But that's the only way something would drastically shift. But the money is going up because of new streaming opportunities, which is why we're getting games on Christmas Day. Netflix, all of a sudden, it's $75 million each game, and that money ultimately goes back to the owners and leads to salary cap going up, which leads to money to the players.
I understand. Like, look, this is not the first time like a big business has been hypocritical. I'm not so arrogant to not understand how capitalism works, right? I mean, I genuinely get it. My problem is that the league is always presenting itself as this like savior of athletes. We're here to protect them, and what they do is they throw it in the player's face like this is for you. Things the players aren't asking for. So the players were universally in agreement that they didn't want to get rid of hip drop tackles. They were fine with them. The players, were fine with them. They were fine with the way people were tackling. They were good with it being a rule. They think it makes their job infinitely harder. Former players from our own like work group chat were saying it's making the sport way harder. It's making it soft. Like players generally, 90% of players probably are like, we didn't care for you to get rid of it. But the league's like, we're protecting you. Until you aren't. You're only protecting me when it doesn't add money. Hip drop tackles cost you money. Then you care about protecting me. That's nice. Well, the second that it costs you money in the 3 games in 10 days, not protecting you anymore. Sorry, pal.
Yeah, they're reminded, bigger stars getting hurt from the hip drop tackle, and they know that's what
that costs them money.
That's why
people
care.
are going to the games or watching the game.
That's ultimately why they care.
It's just a weird, gross system where they pretend like they care to keep you healthy, and they only care about the money. It's so stupid. It was very obvious when I saw that stat from Warren Sharp, because that is kind of glaring, isn't it? That they've gone all these, and this is the extra game problem probably too, and the extra streaming services problem, which you pointed out, which is because everybody wants a piece of all the good games. Peacock doesn't want doesn't want Giants Panthers. Okay, they don't want that game. So they're all going to fight for. We all want our one Chiefs game. Okay, we all want our one Jets game with Rodgers, right? We all want our one 49ers game. And they're all just going to pass those teams around. So these same teams every year are going to be – it's just going to be the same teams who have to take this beating. I was thinking more about – not the schedule, but it was funny. We were talking NBA and all that stuff. It was a good reminder. So the NBA is not going to have a repeat champion again. They're going to have like the 7th new champion in a row. And we talked about this on the show once, and it's more glaring than ever. The NFL has no parity except for you can be – stinky one year and mediocre the next.
Yeah, but I love that.
Other than that, there's no parity in the sense that like championship parity, and look, in the Chiefs case, it doesn't matter. Championship parity is so much better in baseball, the NBA, the NHL. The only parity that exists in football is that you can be a 2-win team and then you can be a 9-win team.
Yeah, and
not win a championship, but you can be better, faster.
Personally, I think that's great, though. And it's not just because Kansas City's winning the championships now. I'm just saying that when you have the season that has now 17 games, 18 weeks or whatever, throughout the year and going to this year, if you're a fan of a team, it is nice knowing that if you won 5 games last year, there's going to be somebody that won 5 games or whatever last year that's making the playoffs this year. And that there's something to be said for.
But they won't win it. You know what I'm saying? Like they won't do anything with it.
Right, but there's not like there's you don't
still
have to
stay bad long.
There's also still a chance. I understand that historically the numbers would say that it hasn't happened as much as these other leagues, but there's not like some actual rule that says, oh, you can make the playoffs, but you can't win the championship. And that's the beautiful thing about the NFL is everybody thinks their team has a chance, even if deep down maybe they don't. They think they have a chance.
Sure.
In baseball, you're right. We've seen because we're talking about series instead of one game. That's also part of the difference with that too. We normally would say, oh, a series, the better team's going to win throughout a series. Well, I mean, we just saw 2 teams at home in Game 7s. At home in Game 7s lose.
For the first time ever, maybe? On the same day, right?
Yeah, on the same day, yes. First time ever on the same day. But someone was putting out that since the bubble, so since the COVID year of the NBA, Game 7s in the playoffs, the road team is it 8-4 now or something? It's crazy.
I think, honest to God, credit to the NFL. I think that they did a great job marketing. We're the parity sport, and the rest of these are unfair. Because they have a salary cap, everyone can only spend the same amount of money, you can turn your season around faster. But if you just said, hey, next 20 years, I got to choose any random team with a dart, and I got a chance to win a championship. You got a way better chance of winning a championship in any other sport that isn't football. Way better. NBA, like you mentioned, like you can be the Pacers, like small market too. You got a better chance at night. Now, small market doesn't impact your you can be great thing, because the Chiefs are not a big market in the NFL, and they're great. They win all the championships. That is the one parity thing they have advantage over the other sports, is that it is way harder to be a dynasty if you are Denver versus if you are LA, you're New York. And same for baseball. If you're LA, New York, it's easier to win, but you have just as good of a chance to be the Royals winning a championship as you do 90% of the NFL based over the last 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, some of that's just because the quarterback play matters so much. And so if you have, in the last 2 decades, if you didn't have Brady or Mahomes, essentially now, it's like you're not winning. Like that's kind of why it's shifted. And we've had generational athletes playing the quarterback, and maybe the 2 greatest of all time in the last 20 years. That's part of why the NFL numbers probably skewed for the championships. But it's weird. Like, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but you weren't the only one that brought up the NBA point. I saw that on social a little bit last night and compared it to the NFL. Yeah. The NFL is clearly the most popular sport in America. It's not even close. Mm-hmm. And yet I feel like and I say we, generally speaking, we try to always be like, well, the NFL just like we find ways to bitch and moan about the NFL more than any other sport recently, and it's kind of weird to me. Like, just even whether it's the playoff point or whatever, like it's the most popular sport, but yet we're always trying to convince ourselves like the NBA is just way better. I know you're not saying that, but
I'd like it to be better. Like I'd like Major League Baseball to have more equitable money sharing.
Yeah,
systems.
Like the NFL is the most popular sport in the United States, and then we're like, I feel like going out of our way to try to be like, but the NBA is just way better. Like, no, it's not. Sorry, it's not. I love the NBA. I watched the playoffs last night. Like, no, the NFL is still king. And this is more like, maybe I'm directed. We can get Carrington in here because he had a tweet essentially like that. And when you brought it up, it reminded me of his tweet last night.
Oh, okay.
Which was basically,
sorry, I didn't see that. I was just bringing it up.
Which was basically somewhat alluding to what you were. About how much more parity, and I'm just like, there is
more parity in the other sports.
There seems to be like a concerted effort at times from certain people to make sure we all recognize how great the NBA is over the NFL. And I'm like, no, the NFL is the best sport in America. It's not even close.
I think the NBA is in a position where it's more about the team building aspect of it than it has in the last 20 years. Because before it's like, okay, they're going to sign this guy. They're going to sign this guy, where none of that worked, and we're getting back to where Oklahoma City is very successful. A lot of the stuff does draft. A lot of their players are drafted. Minnesota, a lot of their players are drafted. Denver, drafted. Pacers, a lot of them are drafted or they've been strategically traded for. Where it's not. I'm not necessarily
but the NFL, all your players are drafted usually, you know?
Well, correct. But I think in terms of how the roster is being built, it's more like football than it has been in the last two decades.
We might also just be like, to Gold's point, and I get what you're saying, Drew. We might just be in a better parity time for the NBA than the NFL. You said, look, star players in the NBA really matter, but there are like 20 legitimately great players in the league right now, whether it's Anthony Edwards or Jokic or LeBron. Like, there are a lot of great NBA players right now. So, like, one player is not ruling the league. But
the NBA is fantastic right now. I mean, the playoffs have been awesome. We had 2 Game 7s, even if the Knicks Pacers one turned out to be a blowout. Last night, seeing the Timberwolves come back, it was great. I think it's a Mahomes and Brady thing, though, why if we pull up data of the last 20 years. I mean, 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time might have played in the last 20 years. That's going to skew some championships. Especially when there's not a more important player or position, I should say, in sports ever than quarterback. They're just not.
Yeah, I think to that point, the coaching is so much more important in the NFL than in the NBA, where you get a lot of the same. The end result is very similar because the coaching is better. The quarterbacks who have it are better. Or in the NBA, and somebody texted in and actually made a good point. Part of the NBA parity, I agree, is it just shows you how dominant Jordan and LeBron have been. Because Bron went to 10. He's been 10 NBA Finals, was like an 8 straight. Where now LeBron is not in as many of those games. Where now we're starting to see a bunch of really, really good players instead of that one dominant player who is always going to be in it at the end. It's just collectively, as you said, Cody, 20 elite guys that are spread out through the league, and it creates a lot of intrigue for not just 1 or 2 or 5 markets, it's 10 markets.
The other thing is they put a cap in place. Like, you can go beyond it, but it punishes you now. This is like, baseball should look at that and be like, well, duh. Now, like, the Pacers are in it. The Wolves are in it. You got 20 teams who think they have a legitimate chance, and most of them aren't totally crazy in doing it. Like, baseball's the one that needs but it's hard. Because how do you convince people to just be like, hey, would you take less money than you're making now? And how many people like us would say yes? I wouldn't.
Right.
Company came to me, asked me to take less money. I'm like, you know what, boss? You got it. I would like things to be more equitable at the moment, so sure.
Yes. Someone else says, yeah. I mean, like right now, you were mentioning the crop of players, but specifically just young talent.
The league's in a great spot,
like,
yeah.
I mean, look at the 2 conference finals. I mean, whether it's Halliburton going up against Jason Tatum, and 2 of the bright young stars right there, and then I know SGA just got eliminated from the Thunder, but still, like he's one of the best young players in the league. Yeah, it's been a good show for the NBA, but wasn't playing on time NBA, but it related what we were discussing with the NFL a little bit and just where things kind of stand with safety, but also how it correlates with I think the power the players have too. I mean, we know if there's any league that had the players have a lot of power, it's the NBA. The NFL is like the opposite. The MLB union used to be viewed in a really more positive light, I think. Not as much as it
They still got more
was.
power than the NFL players do.
Yeah, significantly more.
NFL players have just been fighting for the wrong things all this time. That's all.
Yes.
Like consistently, seemingly fighting.
Yeah, we all know where this
is
is headed in the next CBA for the NFL. They're going to get an 18th game, and the NFL will give them something that they were willing to give up anyway. I know that's a negotiation, but they won't get enough back for what they're actually giving to the NFL.
I keep seeing. We mentioned that Rashee Rice. If you missed it, Rashee Rice will be back at practice today for the Chiefs for part of their Phase 3 offseason program. Andy Reid said that. Over under 3.5 weeks before another Chiefs player is in a headline.
Oh,
are we going to? I'm just asking if we're
doing that.
Well, look, can we avoid it at this point?
Every week there's something, man.
Some headline, whether it be
legal
legal or off the field, right? Because certainly there have been 1,700 headlines from the Kansas City Star about Harrison Butker over the last 2 weeks. Some of them are wild, by the way.
Look, and there's some great people that work over there that write columns and are very talented. The whole guest column thing, not great.
It's got to stop.
Not great, because there's some very talented people that work there, and they do a hell of a job. The guest column thing, no
more opinion pieces.
Of course, I'm referencing the guest columnist that suggested that the Chiefs should sign a woman kicker because of the Butker thing. I mean, just absurd stuff. Just crazy stuff.
Yeah, they're all nuts. Let's not equate who's... like, which thing was worse? Honestly, I think it'd be a fairly easy ranking system. But let's just say there have been headlines now for the 3rd time in the last month with the Chiefs. Actually, 4th time, because Rashee Rice was good for 2 of them, including the nightclub incident. So Rashee Rice twice, Butker got in a bunch of headlines, and now Wanye Morris got popped for weed on the weekend. You and I both said, I don't care about the weed possession. It doesn't bother me. It's whatever. It's mostly just like, can you stop from making a headline? Will the Chiefs get to training camp before another player makes a headline?
Yes.
A bad, negative headline, okay?
Yes.
Oh, because I think there's going to be a positive headline.
Negative headline.
I mean, the rumor is, maybe Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift got engaged recently. That's the rumor that's floating around right now. They're in Lake Como or whatever in Italy, and that's the...
She was up on stage over this weekend, and people were speculating she had a hickey.
She did. She did. I
Certainly
saw that.
looked like a hickey.
I saw that.
Have you ever... New random question. Have you ever given a hickey? Gotten a hickey?
Yeah, I've gotten a hickey years ago, a long time ago.
God, I've never gotten a hickey. That was never really my thing. Like when you were a teenager?
One time, a long time ago, yeah.
Did you wear a turtleneck the next day?
I've definitely had the
jacket up?
Made sure it had the higher collar or whatever for sure.
Why are you wearing a hoodie when it's 85 degrees outside?
Yeah, that's another sign, exactly. But no, that could be the positive news.
Negative headline. Can they avoid a negative headline for the rest of this offseason?
Yeah. Yes. Now, do you count just an update on the legal situation?
No.
Okay.
No. Just simply somebody else getting in some kind of trouble.
I think they'll be
whether
good
it
now.
be
they're back in the facility.
Publicity or like legal.
Everything's organized now. We're good.
Wow, they're for a week or two, and then they go back on break again.
Yeah.
Do you
I don't like. I don't like your line of questioning. I don't like
which one, the hickey one or the other one?
No, I don't like your line of questioning. Like, I don't like playing the draft lottery on who's going to screw up next.
I didn't say which player. I just said when is it going to happen?
I don't like that.
Well, at this rate, I have to assume we're good for one every 2 or 3 weeks, aren't we? Just stay out of trouble.
Well, that's where I was at with the on Friday night when I saw the mugshot pop up on Wanya. It's not because it's weed. Who gives a damn? It's the fact that, like, really? Another thing? Like, every week? Yeah. That's what it was. It's not that, oh, my gosh, how could you? It's a misdemeanor, okay? It's the point of a Chiefs player making another, quote-unquote, bad decision. We can... different degree of decision than others, as you said. But still, it's like, ugh, really? Come on, man.
Someone in the text line said Derek Nottie was on ESPN today for saving dogs.
Beautiful. He's been doing that for a while.
He's got a great partnership with one of the local charities here in town that And
he's been helping them, I think, since he was a rookie in town. So there you go. No, good headlines. There will always be some good headlines. Someone also said, when are you too old to have a hickey?
Ooh.
Now. I'm definitely too old now.
I mean, well, Taylor Swift's 33, isn't she?
Well, she's younger than me.
Drew.
Somebody said their nephew got a hickey and their dad rubbed it out with a spoon to make it disappear. But hang on. Why is it
the cold spoon?
Why is it such a bad thing? I'll be honest.
It's not bad. It's
I don't care if you get one.
It's more of a joking, like,
we don't kink shame on this show.
That's right. It's more of just a joking. People just give you crap for it. It's not a like, oh my gosh. That's all it is. It's more of like it's a funny thing.
If you have one, you have to own it.
Like if I came in
tomorrow, I'm getting some action,
especially when
you know.
I mean, if you're a teenager,
like 14, it might have just meant someone sucked on your neck for a little bit, nothing else happened.
Yeah.
Now, presumably, if they went as far to give you a hickey, it probably went further.
And like we would, like if any of us came in to work and had a hickey on the show, we would clearly bring it up and joke about it. That's just how this would work.
Yes,
like that's how this would go.
Somebody texted in that. The guys on the morning show
I see this.
brought it up, and they said that I would be an expert.
They think you'd be the resident 6'10" expert on hickeys, Drew. That's from the morning show.
I don't know.
You think because you look the closest to high school? Like it's like you at times the text line will joke about you looking like you're 18. Is that what they're going with? Is that why?
Someone says it's just a curling.
Look, I'll be honest. I don't know if they might not be wrong. I'll just say that.
Wait. About you being an expert of hickeys?
Given
plenty of hickeys,
yes.
He says. Oh.
I've gotten like one. I've gotten one or two.
I just don't think a girl's ever asked me for that. I don't think she's ever said, hey, can I get a hickey?
Hang on.
It's not something that's...
I don't think anybody asked.
It's not something that's asked.
I've never been
Nobody
asked.
says, hey, it just happens, man. Nobody's saying, hey, give me a hickey.
I've never been asked that.
I'm not out here passing them out.
That's hilarious, though.
The way you said it, you said, I've given plenty. Made it sound like
he's just done it. He's just done it.
That might not be a bad guess. Actually, from the morning.
Drew's the Twin Peaks guy. I mean, he's got the Hickey's Bikini Bash 23rd this week.
Oh, yeah. It's this week. I was going to say, how was it? But it's this week. Still time to get over there, Drew.
We're going to send Drew out there on that Thursday.
I am not going.
Why a Thursday? Shouldn't it be a Friday? They're probably already busy on Fridays.
They got other stuff going on, man.
They need to convince people to come out on a Thursday is what they're trying to do, I'm sure.
Scenic views? Someone says, Cody's as red as my shirt. I'm wearing a red shirt today for those that aren't watching on the video stream. Up next, we'll get to what's trending and back into what this Royals team is doing and what the 2014 team had to say about the chances of them having another special run this year.
Hey, it's Vinny Pasquantino. Don't forget to follow Cody and Gold on the Odyssey app so you can listen on demand to my terrific football takes throughout the year right here on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort. Now, I know you're probably spelling comfort in your head and asking yourself, is that possible? Am I just a really bad speller? Look, I don't know your spelling aptitude, but Skechers most definitely put the S in comfort because Skechers is the comfort technology company that has developed fits and features that change everything you know about comfort, like hands-free Skechers slip-ins, the ultimate in comfort and convenience. It's footwear you just step into and they're on, with no bending down. Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
We're talking with Dr. David Bach, board-certified urologist at Kansas City Urology Care. What's the most important thing men should know about prostate cancer?
I would strongly recommend PSA testing. It's a simple blood test. It's inexpensive, and basically every male over 50 should be having this PSA once a year. Prostate cancer is the second leading cancer killer of men.
And why should they go to KCUC?
We not only treat more prostate cancer than anyone else in this part of the country, we also start with cutting-edge diagnostics to offer the most precise diagnoses of prostate cancer using ultrasounds and MRI. We can offer surgical, medical, and radiation types of treatments. And even for men who require additional therapies, we're able to offer all that at a single site.
Get your PSA level tested by the experts. Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC. To make an appointment, visit appointments.kcurology.com.
This is the absolute worst time of year to have to be dealing with joint pain. You can't do all those outdoor activities you love to do. Hey, it's Bob Fesco. Don't go through the summer missing out on life. Call QC Kinetics now and find out how they can use biologics from your own body to give new life to your achy joints. QC's regenerative medicine protocols can restore and repair that damaged tissue with no surgery, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime. This is the future of medicine. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients around the country are living their best life this year because they made the call. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Revolutionary treatments for joint pain are here. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 and State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics.
As you prepare for Memorial Day, don't forget the Gates sauces and seasonings. They are great on all meats, fish, and chicken, veggies, and snacks, from hot buttered popcorn, assorted nuts, to a topping for your dips. And even sprinkle Gates seasonings on your chips for that extra pop of flavor. Nothing says Memorial Day like a Gates party tray. So stop by any of the 5 locations to pick one up, or go to your local grocer and bring the taste of Gates sauces and seasonings home. Gates Barbecue, a Kansas City tradition.
The sun is out, the water's fine, and the crew is ready to party. Summer is here. Hy-Vee has everything you need to make a huge splash this Memorial Day. Fire up the grill and impress your guests with prime reserve steaks, chicken grillers, or specialty brats. Don't forget our ready-to-serve side dishes. Cool off with some tasty refreshments from our wide selection of beverages, wine, and spirits. Make a splash into summer this Memorial Day weekend at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee.
Hey, it's Kling. That time on the calendar is upon us, Memorial Day, a time to gather and reflect. Well, Hy-Vee's your one-stop shop for our Memorial Day celebrations. Patio furniture, gas and charcoal grills, and all the accessories. Grilling favorites, including prime reserve cuts of beef and Hy-Vee's famous specialty brats, like the pineapple or the jalapeno cheddar. Spend even less time in the kitchen with Hy-Vee's full-service catering or ready-to-serve meals, including ribs, barbecue chicken, and pork. And don't forget the huge selection of wine, beer, and spirits. One stop for all your Memorial Day needs, only at Hy-Vee.
And paid for by AG Marketing Group. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-858-0815. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-858-0815. The call is free, the consultation is free. Call 800-858-0815. That's 800-858-0815. Again, 800-858-0815.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Looking for a new show to dive into? Well, go to Hulu and see what's new, because Hulu has new stuff all the time, like the full season of FX's epic limited series Shogun, FX's new international spy thriller The Veil, starring Emmy and Golden Globe winner Elizabeth Moss, and don't miss the all-new crime series Under the Bridge, inspired by shocking true events and starring Riley Keough and Lily Gladstone. It's all new, and it's streaming right now on Hulu.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More.
so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to the home for Royals baseball. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Sports Station. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending. The Royals are going for their fourth win in a row tonight as they welcome in the Detroit Tigers. That after a series sweep of the A's. It'll be Michael Wacha on the bump tonight. 6:40 first pitch. Vern's on Deck show at 5:30 right here on 610 Sports Radio. Don't forget, though, tomorrow night, that's the 21st, it's Dollar Dog night, and it's MacArthur's 9th Infantry night. We've got our MacArthur's 9th Infantry T-shirts, our Green Army caps, special hat for MacArthur as well. Ready to go for tomorrow night. We're going to be meeting in Lot H at 5:30. I know you guys were keeping an eye on the weather. Looks like it's going to rain during the day. Should be good for first pitch tomorrow night. We'll be in those seats 150, 151, 152, which is right above the Royals bullpen. You can still buy tickets for that section in the first 40 listeners that join us out in Lot H around 5:30. Or we'll be out there for a while. Can get one of those T-shirts from our friends at Raygun, and we'll have MacArthur on the show tomorrow too.
Look, if the 151s get sold out or 152s, there's always those sections right behind. We just want everyone in the same area. You can prove to us that you're kind of in the same area. We got a shirt and a hat for you. Really, really looking forward to it. Excited to have James MacArthur on the show tomorrow, live from the Urban Youth Academy as well. Next up on What's Trending, Xander Schauffele won his first major, the PGA Championship, yesterday behind a fantastic final round for him. Scotty Scheffler, who people thought was going to win it certainly after the first couple of rounds, had a really bad Saturday. Eventually had a 6-under 66, I think it was, on Sunday. But Schauffele held on to get his first ever major championship. He was a lot of those guys be like, how's this guy not won the big thing in the PGA yet? He managed to hold on to it yesterday for the lowest ever total score for a major championship. So it was a lot of low scoring in the PGA. They must have made that course a little too easy.
So I never liked that. I don't need it to be the U.S. Open where guys are like 5 under and struggling, but also 21 under is
That's
a bit.
a lot.
I was like, it's a bit much.
I don't even shooting 64s every week.
Multiple 60.
We almost got a playoff though with Bryson.
Yeah, there's a lot of sub 65s. There's a couple 62s in there.
Yeah. There's got to be a balance. Again, it doesn't need to be the U.S. Open where it's like so tough that it's not fun.
The perfect number is like 8, 9, 10 under, but
those guys
sure,
have
find
gotten
a
so
middle
good now where
go.
a course that's been, difficult for some is now no longer difficult.
Yep. Next up on What's Trending, NBA postseason continues. We got our Western Conference and Eastern Conference final set up. Beginning tomorrow night out east, it'll be the Pacers, who just beat the Knicks in the Garden in a Game 7. They will take on Boston at 8 o'clock, and then on Wednesday, we'll have the Western Conference Finals, the Timberwolves, who came back in one of the biggest comebacks in Game 7, or the biggest comeback in Game 7 history, over the Nuggets last night. Timberwolves Mavericks on Wednesday. That should be a really fun series. Young team in Minnesota. And we'll see. Everybody seems to think that, obviously, it's the Celtics finals to lose when they get there. We'll see if there's a surprise from the Pacers. But if Jason Tatum and the Celtics don't win this year, it's going to be a massive disappointment.
When are they?
I mean, the sea is parting for them, it looks like, with the Nuggets out of the picture.
Sure. The team who beat them to take them down last year, or certainly one of the teams that stood in their way last year, you would certainly think this is the year for them. Drew's Pacers.
How about those Pacers,
Are you going to finally buy a
a
Halliburton jersey? It's your hometown team. He's the biggest star. He just took your team to an Eastern Conference final.
Or at least Siakam, somebody.
Oh, I'm not getting a Siakam jersey. If I get a jersey, it'll be a Halliburton jersey.
That makes, Siakam, he's not going to be there very long.
He's just
maybe
a fun player.
But Halliburton, yeah. That seems like he's been a good guy, big star.
Talking trash to people on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
I will say the fact that if they find a way to make the NBA Finals for the second time in their history,
You going? You're gonna fly back to Indy for that?
No, I will not.
You gonna go to the parade if they win the finals?
I don't know.
Can't even have a Halliburton jersey. You're not going to the parade.
I'll be honest. I have not thought about that because I did not think that they would be in this position.
Do you think the Pacers have a real chance though to beat the Celtics? That's
yes.
a tough match.
I think they've got a real chance because of Porzingis and him. He's out for the first 2 games, and then if he comes back and he's a little bit on and off. The problem with the Pacers has always been the defense, though. They've got one of the best offenses, but if they have an off night shooting, they are going to lose the game.
Next up on What's Trending, the MLB has opened an investigation today into allegations former Los Angeles Angels infielder David Fletcher gambled with an illegal bookie, Shohei's bookie. An MLB source told MLB the investigators face a significant hurdle at start to get the evidence. What's interesting about this is, guess what David Fletcher was once described as? Very close to maybe best friends with Shohei Ohtani. Reportedly bet on baseball with the same guy. This once again makes Shohei somehow just everyone around you is betting with this guy for large sums of money, but not you. All your best friends with tons of money are doing it, but not you. It just looks, he probably isn't implicated in any of this, but you can see why having another person close to you betting with this guy just looks bad.
I guess the question would just be, all right, so anybody that ever has bet with a bookie before, you probably referred to the bookie because your buddy was betting with the bookie. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it was Ohtani, even though that's the perception. I mean, some
could have been Fletcher too.
Like if you were to ask anybody before legalized sports betting in the area, if they were betting through a bookie, their buddy probably, if he bets, was probably betting through the same bookie, or he recommended you to bet through that bookie or whatever. Like it's not as crazy, I guess, as it maybe seems from the outside. That, oh, wait, the guy that was betting other people that were on the same team or whatever could have been.
Just a lot of close personal friends of Shohei Ohtani making wagers. It just
I understand.
looks bad, that's all.
No, I hear you. I'm just saying that, like, if I had a bookie and you said, Gold, hey, I want to bet, there's a good chance you would end up with the same bookie. Not that I ever had one, you know? But, like, that would have been the thing.
It's just they're so close. It would be like if the three of us, it'd be like, it turns out Gold and Drew were robbing banks this entire time together. It'd be like, Cody, you were robbing banks with them, right? I'm like, no, I had nothing to do with it. You're like, So there's a three-person show. And two people were robbing banks together.
I said, leave me out of it.
But I was like, you know what? They offered, but I said, I'm okay. Never turned them in, but,
You said, I have a family and kids. I can't be doing that. I can't be putting my life at risk.
It probably doesn't mean he's any more or less likely. It's just bad for Shohei that this many people who have been described as very close personal friends have been betting with his illegal bookmaker.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. And as we mentioned during what's trending a little bit, we've got our Let's Play Sports Equipment Drive going on, presented by Pinnacle Bank. It all benefits the Urban Youth Academy. And yeah, we're going to be out there tomorrow at the Urban Youth Academy accepting donations for some of that new, gently used sporting good equipment. Plus, you can just make monetary donations up on our 610sports.com website. Plus, maybe you've already dropped some off at Gates Barbecue locations around the Kansas City area. But we'll be out there. MacArthur's going to stop by. And it's a great chance for you to come check out the Urban Youth Academy if you haven't been there before, but also support them. And if you can't make it out tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to be at Kauffman Stadium collecting sporting goods items as well around, I'm sure it'll be Gate D again.
Yeah, right around that same area. And by the way, we are told that we'll have vouchers for future Royals games. For anybody who comes on Wednesday to donate that sports equipment, we'll have a chance for you to go to a future Royals game. And look, I don't know, maybe if I offered that in September of last year, you'd have been like, I don't know. Now, the Royals are great, and you should want to go out to the game. So if you've got gently used or new sports equipment, come out to the K on Wednesday, come out to the Urban Youth Academy tomorrow. We'd love to see your faces and get some gear over for the Urban Youth Academy. A really cool thing in Kansas City, obviously.
The Royals get the sweep over the weekend of the Oakland Athletics. So 10 games above 500. First time since the end of 2015. We all know how that season went for the Kansas City Royals. Turned out pretty good for them as well. And nobody, I don't care how high you were on the team, there's no way you thought they'd be 10 games above 500 on May 20th. I mean, you're lying if that's actually what you're saying you predicted. And the way they're going about doing it has been with pitching and defense. We know that, and that continues. It's why they've got a chance to win tonight against the Tigers, and every single night they step out on the mound. But having the 2014 team there, you and I had discussed on Friday's show, for fans, maybe what that could do, bring back some of the good memories and what it's like, your shirt you're wearing today. The vibes are great, like the good vibes, the good times of 14 and 15. And I thought on Friday and the whole weekend, the Royals did a great job with the way they celebrated the 14 team and little details of having the players from 14 go through the crowd on their way to the pregame celebration. I thought was a great idea, whoever that was, with the Royals to have fan interaction going into it. But when you have the highlights playing all weekend, and when you have Holland, Herrera, and Davis throwing out the first pitch all weekend,
it does give you the feeling again.
If you're the current players too, and you see that, and you see the support that they got, and that to me can only help. And when you have a guy like James Shields, who was being interviewed by Joel Goldberg, talking about being around this team at spring training and saying things like this, I mean, I think it's a good sign for what the clubhouse can be.
Anybody can win, and it's just a matter of what kind of culture you're bringing, what kind of clubhouse you have, and do you believe in yourself, really? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Everybody's talented on this field, right? Everyone throws 100, everyone can hit homers. That's not a problem, but if you actually believe in yourselves and you create this culture, you become a brotherhood in the clubhouse. That's exactly what winning's all about, and that's what you create. I mean, I walked through the clubhouse this year, and I was in spring training with these guys. This year's team, they do look a lot similar than what we had back there, so I'm really excited to watch these guys.
That's James Shields. So he's part of a winning organization, winning team here in Kansas City, knows kind of what the vibe needs to be like in a clubhouse, and he says it kind of reminds him of 14. And boy, that's got to get you excited if that's the case of what this season can be. And I think it's why we're already starting to see a lot of positive momentum with the organization.
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like this weekend was, and look, the crowds weren't quite as big as I thought they were going to be, but this weekend just felt like hey, go out there, make a statement in front of that 14 team, give us that same feeling as a year before so that we can all feel like, yes, let's buy back in. And they went out and hammered the A's. Like, they took complete control of that series, won it easily, swept all 3 games. The rubber match wasn't even a sweat, Gold. They were up 4, and I guess maybe a little bit of a sweat, obviously. But then when they broke open it in the 6th and Vinny hit the bases clearing triple, then nobody was questioning whether or not they were going to win it. I think it should be easy to look at this team right now and be even, like, to me, the most apt comparison for 14 is 14 was a very young group full of nothing but 10-year big league players. Those were all quality big league players. Escobar played in the league for 10 years. Kane, Hosmer, Moustakas. Those are all 10-year big leaguers, real pros. Not guys who are going to flush out in a couple of years. Not guys, like if you go back to the 2003 Royals, there are some 10-year big leaguers in there. David DeJesus stuck around the league for a while. And about half that team was done after a couple of years. Wasn't a regular starter. Was kind of out of the league. Wasn't really mattering as much anymore. When the Royals were like kind of decent through the first 40 games a few years ago when Whit Merrifield and Brad Keller were playing well. Brad Keller got DFA'd yesterday, unfortunately, and Whit Merrifield's a part-time player. He's going to end up being a 10-year big leaguer, but there aren't that many. Royals are so young and so good. It just mirrors that. Vinny, Bobby, Michael Garcia, they're just carried by their young players. I have decided, I told you guys in the bullpen earlier, I think the reason why I'm starting to love Michael Garcia more and more is I think he's the team's red ass. And I think for a team full of really nice players, like Bobby Wood Jr. seems like one of the nicest kids on the planet. You need you need the guy who's going to start the fight, who's going to start the brawl because like Herrera threw behind the guy's head and everybody's out here. That was in April, but that game was in April when Herrera threw behind the guy's head twice and then they came out to brawl. April baseball game. Michael Garcia's got some fight. Feels like he wants to stir some stuff up. I'm kind of falling in love with him because of that. I think he might be the pot stirrer.
That stuff might happen later in the summer, a big-time divisional series or something. I know you said it happened in April back with Herrera and that year, but I wonder if that's something later on this year when the games are more magnified and you start to – right now, I mean, everybody – there hadn't made any problem with any opponent or anything like that. No reason.
It's all been cordial.
It's all been good to this point. You'll see that maybe later on in the year when the games are magnified. The one thing that I go back with Garcia is what we heard from Vern, I think it was initially, but just the stage and playing in these bigger crowds and bigger moments. And by the way, he's playing better baseball. The crowds are a little bit bigger.
Things
are
more
magnified. And now all of a sudden he's hot. And so maybe it's your song. I don't know, but it
didn't hurt.
I think the crowds in these bigger moments, he embraces that. It doesn't. There's the opposite effect for some players, and he seems to be a type of player that embraces the bigger role, the bigger moment, the stage, and all of that. And the good news, if that's the case for him individually, is that the way this team is playing, there's gonna be a lot of bigger at bats coming later on this season as well.
By the way, the 816. So you love a Royals pot sermon and see 6 Chiefs players do your up and arms. First, I'm not talking off the field. I don't want.
What are we doing?
I'm talking about.
We're talking about on the field. Come on now. Yeah,
look,
I knew what you meant.
Moustakas yelling, "Oh, okay, F you," right? Yeah. Giordano Ventura with a little bit of flair. I'm just talking about
trouble. We're talking
about a red ass on the football field.
I knew what you
on the baseball field.
I knew what you meant. Yeah, I 100%
I don't think you and I have ever complained about a football player who got in each other's heads.
No.
We just talked about how L'Jarius Sneed was embarrassing Tyreek Hill just last year.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
No, he does seem to, and they might have several players who don't seem. Bobby Wood Jr., he's different, right? Michael Garcia seems like he feeds off the energy, and when the team gets good and the game matters, he's all like, yes, I'm going to prove the world that I'm the guy. If you missed it, Michael Garcia was a part of a huge brawl in the Dominican Republic Winter League, it was a scene. Everybody was out on that. But Bobby Wood Jr. just seems like the person who's unaffected by it. Oh, there's like 1 million people here, and it's a big moment. Okay. Here comes a hit.
Yeah, he makes everything look easy. That's what it is. He just makes every routine stuff look, tough plays look routine.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy how easy everything is. That's why he's who he. I mean, it just is little effort. And this guy, he could have had 2 home runs yesterday, right? One went off the top of the wall. One was the bottom of the wall. Ends up with another triple. Yesterday was just a fun game to watch. Vinny gets his first triple in a pinch hit. He's getting the day off. And like, hey, we need you for a big-time at-bat to give us some breathing room. And he delivers and clears the bases and gets his first triple. He was asking the MLB Authentics guy. They showed it on TV. It looked like, we can maybe confirm with Vinny later, but it looked like he was asking the MLB Authentics guy, like, hey, where's that baseball? I
you think you got it?
I kind of want that baseball. It's his first triple.
This was the play-by-play call yesterday on 610.
Breaking ball, hit, pulled on the ground, fair, up the first base line and rolling toward the right field corner. Fermin's in to score. Renfroe rounds third. He crosses standing. Massey gets waved around. Relay to the plate lane. Massey slides in safely. Pasquantino gets all the way to third. A bases clearing triple.
He's just not the most likely candidate to get a triple.
No, and then in the interview with Joel.
And we love you, Vinny.
The interview with Joel after was funny because, before he kind of had, he had the top few buttons undone. He's like,
he was looking loose.
He's like, I'm a very professional baseball player now or whatever. He's got everything buttoned up. The last 2 nights, he got back on track a little bit. So now.
He just was in an RBI slump. He was still getting on base a little bit. He just hadn't been knocking people in.
Yeah. Bases jacked there and gets a 3-run triple.
There's got to be nothing more satisfying than a pinch hit. Triple or home run. Like, hey, I know you haven't played all day. Mind swinging the stick for a minute? And you're like, okay.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
And then coming off cold off the bench is not easy.
Yeah, that's tough. But then also, he kind of joked about it in postgame, though, mentioning like, man, 2 minutes of work, basically. Like, just the fact that you get a day's worth or a weekend worth of RBI, and just one at bat in late, and you didn't have to break much of a sweat. Not bad.
No.
I mean, he broke a sweat on the triple, I'm sure, but
yeah. What the hell? You calling him slow?
Easy day.
Salvi did that too, by the way. This was Salvador Perez and Vinny after the game because Salvi was comparing Vinny to a truck.
You run like a truck. Sorry, Benny. But now I need to get one. That's his first one, no?
Yeah. First for
Pretty good for him.
I don't think that's a compliment. Depends on what kind of truck and if you're moving downhill or uphill. I'm going to assume he meant like an 18-wheeler going downhill with no brakes or something. So thank you, Salvi.
Do you think Salvi still has the truck he won for the All-Star Game MVP? Or was that the World Series MVP?
Well, Kane won the ALCS MVP. The All-Star Game the All-Star Game. What did they get a truck or they just get a?
I don't know.
He got a truck for
did,
some award. I don't remember which one.
It has to be the World Series. Normally they give that to the.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the World Series.
Salvi
MVP.
got a.
I think it's
Yeah, it looks like World Series.
I mean, that's the kind of truck you have to maintain forever, right? Like if you win a truck or give it to charity, it's got to go to like an orphanage, or you got to like maintain it forever. And it's just your family's truck for life. I got it for winning World Series MVP. I'd be afraid to haul stuff around in it. Wouldn't even be useful as a regular truck. I think that's the World Series one. I think
I was trying to see. I thought somebody got a Corvette too, but maybe I'm just misspeaking on that. I'm not sure.
Okay. I don't remember. You think it was a Corvette?
Hosmer got the truck from the All-Star Game, someone says.
Oh, okay. Getting it mixed up.
That's one text. So, I mean, we're counting on you.
I don't remember. They always give you something. They give you like, here's your trophy and here's like a vehicle of your choice to do it. So I don't remember exactly what it was he won. But
a lot of times they either, like you said, they get it to charity or a family member or something. Because unless, if you've been in the big leagues, you got your big payday. It's not this $80,000 truck is not probably as big of a deal as the minor leaguer that happens to have a great season and has a great story like that.
Let's say you were going to buy a used truck. Gold, you're in the market. You're like, I need a truck.
Mm-hmm.
Both trucks. One truck is $45,000. One is $50,000. The $50,000, they are identical. Mileage, condition, the whole thing. You paying the extra $5,000 for Salvi's MVP truck?
Me?
You.
No. Not
like
me.
You paying the extra $5? You paying the kick for?
Not me. No.
They gave it to Salvi on a field once.
Not me. I would.
Hosmer on the field once.
No, if you just got money and it's not a big deal, then sure you say screw it. But
what
if you're
just Mahomes' truck, Is there a player in which you would pay the extra?
I don't think I'm paying. Again, I'm not in the financial spot where I'm just giving away $5 or $10 grand for the hell of it just because somebody owns that.
LeBaron.
I can't be doing that, man. Maybe in a different life for years from now, but not now.
Not at this current moment.
No. Would you? Are you saying you would?
I don't know. I mean, if the difference is...
Yeah, actually, this is perfect. You just bought a new SUV in the last month or so.
Would I have paid $5,000 more if it belonged to...
Now it's new, but let's just play along.
It couldn't have just belonged to them. Does that make sense? It would need to be from like a special moment to pay the kicker.
What did you want them doing?
Like the All-Star. Like, no, if it belonged to them, but they got it for winning the World Series MVP, we're having a different conversation. I might pay the $5,000.
If Salvi was your salesman.
If it was just Salvi bought it and now he's giving it to me, it's a different conversation.
Someone's right. I think that's where I got the Corvette. They said Salvi got the Corvette. That's what I'm getting. And Haas got the truck.
From the All-Star game. Or from the...
One was All-Star game, one was World Series, I think, is what it was.
This show should do an investigative report on if they still have those cars. Does Eric Hosmer? Let's get him. We need him to answer one question.
I think he gave it to his dad. I think he gave it to his dad.
Does his dad still have it? And does Salvi still have the Corvette, or does somebody in his family still have it?
2016 All-Star game. Hosmer gave the looked like a Chevy truck.
I feel like All-Star potentially is less likely to still. I mean, I'm sure if he still has it, I feel like he'd be more likely to keep the World Series, the truck.
Sure, the World Series Corvette.
Yes, the World Series Corvette than the All-Star game truck.
But if you're his dad, you can't.
It was a midnight black edition of the Chevy Colorado truck.
You know it was going to be the decked out package.
Oh, he could select between the two. He could have had a 50th anniversary Camaro or the Chevy Colorado truck, and he chose the truck and gave it to his dad during the All-Star appearance.
It's just reminding me of all the good times when the Royals were in important things, and now they're good again, Gold, so we get to feel nice about it.
Are you guys taking the truck or are you taking the Camaro?
Cody has a family. He needs more room,
probably,
so he's probably taking the truck. They don't even make the Camaro anymore, do they? One of them they stopped making.
Would you have taken the Camaro at the time?
I'd take the Camaro, yeah. It's just me. Yeah, of course. No, but the true honest answer is because of the tax implication and stuff you would have to still pay on the winnings from the truck or whatever, I probably would end up just selling the truck.
Oh, yeah, for paying
Because if it just because you get gifted an $80,000 truck, you're paying taxes on
because the Camaro is not that expensive.
It's not even that, but no matter what, like if someone
that Camaro might be $80,000,
yeah, maybe.
Someone says Salvi is a few houses down from one of my current projects. I'll just stop by and ask.
Say, hey, I'm not trying to bother you for anything else baseball related. Just real quick, do you still have the Corvette, the Camaro that you got for winning World Series MVP?
Yeah. Someone says Colorado's too small of a truck. So they choose the Camaro.
Okay. We'll get some of those answers for you. Now I kind of feel I just want to go to the Royals clubhouse and just ask nonsense like this. Hosmer we'll have to text. He's obviously not in the Royals clubhouse.
He was also inducted in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame over the weekend.
Yeah, quite the weekend.
It worked out timing for everything to come together. All right. Up next, we will get to the random question of the day and what the fans are saying the Chiefs need to go out and do.
Hey, it's Brady Singer. You're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more. All with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Don Sharp and the Sharp Homes team sell well over 100 homes per year in Kansas City. And that's why if I needed to sell my home, Don Sharp would be the only agent I would trust. Don and her team are selling homes for top dollar all over the metro. If you used another agent and aren't seeing the results, let Don and her team take over. The Sharp Homes team spends thousands of marketing dollars each month to attract more buyers, which increases demand and sells homes faster for the most money possible. Check them out at homesforsaleInKC.com or just Google Sharp Homes team.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've all seen them. As soon as the big storm comes through, the storm-chasing roofers show up. Don't be a victim twice. Call locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. No one protects your home and you like JR.
JR's there for you. You're always better with a roof from JR.
In fact, JR & Company can let you know if you even need to be worried about storm damage. Online, visit jrhailcheck.com. Plug in your address and we'll pull a storm report. If there's nothing on the report, we'll give you hassle-free peace of mind. And if it looks like you got hit, we can come out and do a free inspection and help with any insurance claim. We'll never try to sell you a roof you don't need. But if you do need a new roof,
you're always better with a roof from JR.
Go to jrhailcheck.com.
It's golf season, Kansas City. Quick Trip and Flight want you to experience it in style. From May 3rd to May 31st, go to any local Quick Trip to purchase your 12-pack of Flight and enter to win a VIP round on us. Flight, coming in at only 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, it is the next generation of light beer. Raise the bar with the easy-drinking, clean, crisp, and refreshing beer from America's oldest brewery. Flight by Yingling. Golf prize includes a Flight golf bag, cooler, and a 4-person round of golf brought to you by Flight and Quick Trip.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Looking for a new show to dive into? Well, go to Hulu and see what's new because Hulu has new stuff all the time, like the full season of FX's epic limited series Shogun, FX's new international spy thriller The Veil, starring Emmy and Golden Globe winner Elizabeth Moss, and don't miss the all-new crime series Under the Bridge, inspired by shocking true events and starring Riley Keough and Lily Gladstone. It's all new and it's streaming right now on Hulu.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. Like 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. Switch today.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details.
Brought to you by Kansas City Win Nelson's Plumbing Trade Show, Wednesday 10 till 2 at the Boulevard Drive-In. The Kansas City Win Nelson Plumbing Trade Show is this Wednesday from 10 till 2 at the Boulevard Drive-In. Over 20 top vendors like American Standard and Delta. See the latest products and chat with on-site experts. Get lunch on us from Too Hot to Handle Barbecue. WinNelsonKC.com.
You guys see the exciting concert news earlier today? Some tour dates extended.
I did not.
Justin Timberlake.
Oh, JT, my boy.
He skipped the KC on the initial announcement. I saw it today. I think the concert's in like December 20th or something here in Kansas City. I was excited about that.
Nice.
I think tickets go on sale Thursday.
This is just him, or this is...
I think it's his
got a
tour,
new album.
whatever is new. Yeah, for a new album. Obviously, that's why he's going on tour to promote the new album. And, yeah. I think he was in. It's been a very long time since he was in Kansas City for for a concert. But I was excited. I told you, there are very few people that I'll like pay money to go and see a concert that I want to go see. And he's on the list.
He's on the
I don't know what I don't know
where's
what
he playing? T-Mobile?
I'm not sure. I don't know what the ticket prices are going to be for
Probably.
that, but very expensive. Yeah, I'm assuming it's T-Mobile. But it was announced today because it's the same tour. He just added a couple more, what is it, the Forget Tomorrow World Tour or something. And saw that this morning. And now it's coming to Kansas City, going to Oklahoma City, going to Wichita. So he just added a couple Midwest. Decided, you know
Man,
what?
I'd have been kind of upset if he added Wichita and didn't add Kansas City.
Agreed.
I'd have been like, come on, man, what the hell?
Forget Tomorrow World Tour to KC. It's going to be Friday, December 20th at T-Mobile.
I haven't listened to his new album. Is it any good? Anybody listen to it?
I haven't.
Let's get a little-
General on sale 10 a.m. on Thursday. And if you're like what does it say? Pre-sale for Citi card members and Verizon customers on tomorrow morning.
I'm a Verizon customer. Should I get you on the pre-sale?
Do it. Go for
Pick
it.
up a couple so you can Venmo me or
I figure
whatever?
we'll just get a suite for that one. We'll just go all out.
Yeah, that's true. Let's trade out. Let's trade out that in. I keep forgetting we need to get in touch with Vinny because he owes his Crown Club seats. You and I this morning were all trying to figure out which day we want to go to the game because Vinny owes his Crown Club seats for the Jets-Chiefs game last year, in which we obviously placed a wager between us and him about who was going to do it. My brother was sitting Crown seat on Friday.
He didn't invite you. Wow.
No,
Damn.
no. Well, in fairness, they gave me one of those tickets a couple years ago, and I can't complain. They're not his tickets to give.
Gotcha.
They're a person we mutually know, but he's closer friends with, so it makes sense. The thing that I couldn't get over with is, how the hell were you sitting in those seats? And Andy Reid and Ned Yost were behind you. Why are they in worse seats?
Those people
than
own these
you?
seats already. Like you said, they're someone else's seats.
I was like, what the hell? How are they in worse seats than you?
Yeah, Friday night they had some of the rookies were at the K. So like Jaden Hicks and Jaden or Jalen's? I always get it. Jaden?
Jaden, yes.
Jaden Hicks and some of the other Chiefs rookies were up in like the Frank White Lounge area or George Brett Lounge. There's a Frank White Lounge as well.
Yeah.
But they still allow that. But yeah.
For now.
So anyway, we'll get to the random question of the day here in about 10 minutes or so. But our friends over at Arrowhead Pride, Pete Sweeney, they put out a poll and they kind of poll fans on a bunch of different topics. It's their Reacts poll that they call it. And they go through and they get the fan feel on a couple different issues. One of them had to do, what position do the Chiefs most need to sign as a free agent? The options were, or at least the top vote getters were, defensive line, running back, other, and wide receiver. Wide receiver had the most. 45% of the poll said, hey, wide receiver, position the Chiefs most need to sign as a free agent. And that's updated as of this week. That wasn't before the offseason began. If it was before the offseason, I'm guessing it was like 95% would have said wide receiver. It's down to 45%. And I get it. This is all about whether or not you think they need insurance or have enough there, depending on the suspension length for Rashee Rice, right? And
Which
so
they don't
I
know
get
the
it.
answer
Like,
to.
my second vote would have honestly been probably like offensive line or maybe would have been a corner. Like, defensive line is listed as number 2. I don't know about you. I feel pretty good about where the defensive line is heading into the season.
It's very similar to what it was last year. I think they're counting on, because the length of presuming the absence of Charles Omenihu because of the injury, I do think they're relying more on last year's first-round pick, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, which most of the time you'd be like, yeah, that sounds fine. Counting on last year's first-round pick as being the added, in this case, the additional pass rusher, not the counted on every snap pass rusher, doesn't seem that crazy. Defensive line's always kind of on my list because I like the depth there. But no, before I got to wide receiver, I would mention offensive line. Like, if you just forced me today versus, because like part of this is, if I get asked this question in August, there's a pretty good chance my answer could change.
Of course.
Because if in August I find out Rashee Rice gets 10 games, well, then my answer is wide receiver right now, no questions. But if in August I hear reports that they don't like Wanye or Kingsley as the starter, well, then I sure as hell want a left tackle and Donovan Smith rolling in here. But without wanting to throw the money down the drain, the smart money is wide receiver. Because if you take a left tackle and then it turns out you really like Kingsley, well, then you've just wasted the money on Donovan Smith and it doesn't matter. Even if you spent money on a wide receiver, Rashee Rice's suspension ended up being 4 games. They're on the roster. They have a chance to compete. They might matter in doses. So there is still a benefit to that player. Same as defensive line. And I guess what was the extra position they said?
Running back.
Running back.
Which,
and again,
to me, you can undrafted guy, third string running back we're talking about here.
If they paid a veteran running back, I would have been fine. But if they never pay another running back, I'll be fine.
I mean, we're talking about the third string running back. You know, I mean, we know Pacheco and Clyde are going to be the number 1, number 2 back heading into this season. I think for wide receiver, the challenging part now, and the reason why I think they're just going to wait till training camp is, I mean, the names that are left. Let's be real. I mean, you're better off to me now waiting to see who gets cut or a potential late camp trade if you feel like you got to go get insurance than going out, in my opinion, and signing Hunter Renfrow, who hasn't taken like a visit anywhere. That was the thing with Zay Jones. The timing was right around the club incident for Rashee Rice, but it was also just happened to be the week where Zay Jones was trying to figure out his future. He was already taking 3 or 4 other visits.
And
the Chiefs jumped on and said, hey, why don't you stop by here as well? Sounds like the visit went well, but ultimately he went with the Cardinals.
And they didn't have a defined role for him.
And the Cardinals probably promised, hey, you're gonna have this kind of role. Whereas here, you don't know. And they don't know for sure, depending on the suspension length for Rashee Rice.
I think a lot of the problem is that when you, like a wide receiver right now, and this is why I don't think they're going to spend the money there right now until they can prove more with the Rashee Rice suspension is, most of the players you're targeting right now are on a 1-year deal. And the 1-year wide receivers they've signed recently were coming in here to be top dog or number 2. So they had enough encouragement to be like, well, screw it. Chiefs, one of the best offenses in the league, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, one of the best, the best quarterback, the best head coach in the league. For 1 year, I can take my services and I can go get paid like Juju Smith-Schuster got paid. I can do 1 year there, no problem. If you're Hollywood Brown, 1 year is not a problem. If you're Juju Smith-Schuster, 1 year is not a problem. If you're Zay Jones, it's a problem. Because when Rashee Rice comes back, you're like the 5th option. And even when he's gone, you're maybe 3rd or 4th. You're behind Kelsey, you're behind Hollywood Brown, and they will choose random guy who knows their offense ahead of you. And like Xavier Worthy's a first-round pick, taken in the, taken early enough that they cause you problems too. Like, there's just too many people to hurdle if you're Zay Jones, to definitively beat out if you're Zay Jones. And if that's the case, then why would you sign here? I mean, I would think it would probably be wide receiver for me if you made me do it today, but in August, it might be left tackle. It might be it might be defensive line, depending.
One other thing they asked fans over at Arrowhead Pride about, which is what player do the Chiefs most need to re-sign for 2025 and beyond? Creed Humphrey, 47% of the
That's
vote.
right.
Nick Bolton, 29%. Harrison Butker, 15%. Trey Smith, 8%. 1% other. Look, Creed, I think, is just most likely to get re-signed anyway.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, they're saying needs to be.
I know, but most likely going to, and he's your center. When he got drafted, we talked about it at the time, and obviously through the Creed is Good campaign, just you have a chance to have the same center if you're a quarterback throughout your career. That's usually a good thing. And the snapping stuff, before we get a text about it here in 15 seconds.
That can't be ignored.
If the snapping is a problem, they won't give him an extension. That's why I told you I don't think the snapping is a problem, because if they truly think he cannot correct it, they're not going to give him a deal. So they sort itself out.
If they pay him, it's fine.
Yep.
Is what you're saying, which I don't think is wrong. It's hard with a thing like that because it is always harder, and we mentioned this with John Taylor. It is harder to fix things in season. Look at pitchers in baseball, look at football players. It is hard to be like, hey, I know that slider's not working. Have you thought about changing your grip and just throwing it differently than you've been throwing it the entire offseason, the first 2 months of this season, and just do it different? Have you considered that? It's a challenge to do that. In an offseason, it's much easier to find the grip that works for you and change your system in a way where you can just quality of snaps you can just do over and over and over again and kind of find it. But no, I think Creed is the guy who needs to be signed the most. Proximity to Patrick Mahomes helps. People, there's a long history in the NFL of same center with elite level quarterback. I'll just be honest. That is a pretty consistent theme. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, they had a lot of the same centers for big chunks of their career, and I do not think that that's an accident. Let's get to the random question.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew. Over on the text line, 913-586-7610. Of course, you can hit us up on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. We live stream the show every single day. I'm going to play you a clip from a press conference yesterday in an NBA game, and then I'll have a question that follows. Yesterday, after the Timberwolves had made the improbable comeback, fantastic game that ended up being, because they were down 20, felt like it was going to be a blowout, and all of a sudden, they went on a quest. I thought Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards had a tremendous post-game moment in which this reporter was asking about, normally you have to pay your dues. Mm-hmm. But they're sitting up there together, and it was comedic in all the right ways.
Usually in NBA history, it says you have to lose and lose big before you win. What is it about this team that says
we lost last year?
Yeah, but that's different. You have to lose at a bigger stage. Usually, teams usually.
It's the playoffs. We lost last year.
We lost the last 2 years.
God damn. How much more we got to lose?
Yeah, how much you want us to lose?
Been losing for 20 years.
I mean, that's just the truth, dog.
We've been losing for 20 years, sent me.
It's great.
Because it's in a way burying his own organization for no reason.
And Karl Anthony Towns, his voice and just like looking at it, it's his voice is funny.
Yeah,
his voice is also funny.
We've been losing for 20 years.
But that's so good. They're not wrong either. But that was a great moment.
But
there was so many moments last night after the game, and then on Inside the NBA, you probably heard Chuck was interviewing Anthony.
Oh yeah, but he said I haven't been to Minnesota in 20 years.
He said,
"Take your ass."
Yeah, bring your ass to Minnesota.
Bring
it
your
was,
ass,
it was
he said.
hilarious. The whole thing was good. Anyway, what's your question?
The question I have related to that is, what is your favorite press conference moment? I feel like there are a lot of them. I don't care if it's coach or player. I don't care if it's small setting or big setting. I'll give you mine first so you can think about it for just a second. I've thought about it long and hard because there's hundreds, right? There's just so many good ones. I don't think for me there's one I get more pleasure out of. And maybe it's because I know some of the people who were in the room for this one. It's the Hal McRae rant.
Did you consider Brett for Miller with the bases loaded in the seventh?
No, don't ask me all these stupid ass questions. No. And the all these stupid ass questions every night. Find the I hit Brett for Miller. Miller started the game. He's playing against left-handed pitchers. Brett is not playing against left-handed pitchers. Find the out back for Miller. You think I'm a goddamn fool?
And then, of course, it gets really great. And then all the way at the end.
Now, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
That right there. That's the famous part. You know, the most famous part. That
Scoop
last part.
walking by with his blood coming from his face. Doolittle just standing around the table being like, oh, boy, I might have stepped in it here. Like, phones flying. And I've heard all the behind-the-scenes story. Like, there's something about that moment. He just loses it. There's no explanation for it. He's just lost his mind, and he can't have it anymore. I know, by the way, I was told that Scoop, the guy who got hit with the phone, the way that Hal McRae apologized to him is he took him out for dinner, bought him a steak dinner, said he was sorry, and that was it. Squashed.
There was an article, because it's been almost 30 years now, or over 30 years, I guess now, since that occurred. And I can't remember, maybe it was in the Star. Somebody had wrote, basically the detailed account and revisiting it. But that happened in 1993, man. That's an all-timer.
30 years.
That's an all-timer. So for me, I'll go with the coach one as well. This one is just a classic that I don't think any of us will forget. We go to Oklahoma State. We go to Mike Gundy.
If you want to go after an athlete, one of my athletes, you go after one that doesn't do the right things. You don't downgrade him because he does everything right and may not play as well on Saturday, and you let us make that decision. That's why I don't read the newspaper, because it's garbage, and the editor that let it come out is garbage. Attacking an amateur athlete for doing everything right. And then you want to write articles about guys that don't do things right and downgrade them, the ones that do make plays. Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
God, I mean, I'm
not a kid. Write something about me.
That's a tough one.
So good.
Several people in the text line mentioned that one. Multiple people saying, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Not a game. I don't know. Obviously, not a game. It's practice. We're talking about practice.
Not a game.
Oh, man. How about, Drew, I guess we'll hear yours, and then I'll give a few more of these answers in the text
so this one I totally forgot about. I just found it. This is Kevin Borseth, former women's. This is after a game. He was the head coach of Michigan women's basketball, and they lost a game, and he totally lost.
This is very specific.
That's how I feel. Damn sick and tired of getting out rebounded. 25 offensive rebounds. First time we block out, we get called for a block out. We're pushing people. Meanwhile, they're on the other court grabbing rebounds, going over the top and grabbing them. We get one offensive rebound, the other we get called for over the back. We don't block out very damn well, and we're not getting called, one or the other. That's where I'm frustrated. That's where my whole frustration comes in, offensive rebounds. The entire thing came down to offensive rebound. They got every offensive rebound, and we didn't get one of them. What else do you want to know?
I mean, people mentioned crown their ass, The SIU coaches, do you remember his Gold?
Oh, Barry Henson.
Barry Henson, yeah.
My wife could shoot better. Oh, yeah.
What did his wife into
That was
it?
a great one.
My wife could score 2 baskets.
You know why I know? Because she would at least have one shot fake or whatever it was. That's a great one from Barry Henson. Yeah.
Somebody mentioned this one as well.
What you doing in here, little kitty cat? By that time,
this
cat
one's
turns,
weird.
tries to get back out. That screen won't go that way. Cat starts going, meow, all crazy. And I told our players, we need more dogs. Bo's barking in the back. I have to go shut Bo up. Mel's like, what's going on? I said, there's a cat in the house. Cat in the house? I said, yeah, there's a cat in the house. So I told our players, I tried to let it out the front door. Meow, meow. The cat's still going crazy in there.
Cat in the house.
Yeah, there's a ton. Some, the Mangino, BCS.
Oh, the money?
Dollar signs.
Yeah.
BCS. Oh, that's an all-timer. Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's so many good ones. I'll have to look this one up. Someone says Lee Elliott, Cubs manager in the 80s, absolutely rips the reporter and the city.
I don't know
if you never heard his listen. And again, last night, the Nuggets manager, head coach was like, it's a dumbass question. I mean, people just get so offended in these
Torian Prince, who played at Baylor, this wasn't as much as an aggressive one, but just hilarious. So they had lost to Yale in the tournament, and they got out-rebounded. This was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And the response for Prince was, he was like, how did Yale out-rebound you? And he goes, they went up and grabbed the ball, and that's considered a rebound.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be the angry ones. The calm ones in those ways are
Cody,
a lot of ways funny,
by
too.
the way, I looked up the Lee Elliott tirade. 5 seconds. First of all, we cannot play it without it needs some serious editing.
Okay.
But within the first 5, it took 3 seconds for it
That's
to...
it? 3 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, don't play that one, I guess. Because, of course, there's the playoffs.
Yeah, people want us to bring up the just post game on the field. I'm wearing, they said it's the same as my shirt. And if you're not watching the stream today, I'm wearing Drew's favorite shirt, smoking that Joe Burrow.
Smoking a Joe Burrow.
And here's.
You got a cigar of your own, I see.
Yeah, I'm smoking the Joe Burrow.
You smoking on the Joe Burrow?
I'm smoking on the Joe Burrow.
That's our guy, Aaron Ladd, obviously interviewing Pat Mahomes Sr.
There's just so many good choices. Keep giving us your answers. 913-586-7610.
I mean, if it's not just post game, if we're talking
that's
regular,
that's not a press conference necessarily.
I was going to say
people see. Yeah, sure. That's a great moment.
This one was also very classic from Saban.
All right, so why do you continually try to get me to say something that doesn't respect one of them? I'm not going to. So quit asking.
Yeah.
So
that
good.
one's lived on for a long
reference
time.
that one a lot.
That one people use just on social media whenever it's about, they'll just use that for anything now. That's an all-timer.
I mean, and we could do a completely different random question. Like, what's the video short or whatever that you reference more than other people? That's one of them. Like, I mean, of course people reference it. So quit asking. I mean, it's an iconic moment.
I think the text we got the most so far is Dennis Green.
Yeah.
From the
Crown
Cardinals.
their ass.
That's probably the most popular text that we've gotten in, I would say, for this.
A lot of good answers. That's my random question of the day. As a reminder, by the way, we're going to be out at the K tomorrow. We can talk about performance in a minute. We're going to be at the K tomorrow night for MacArthur's 9th Infantry. We have 40 free shirts, 40 free hats for the first 40 people who meet us in Lot H at 5:30 and are sitting in our section. We're going to be in 151. You can be in 150, 152. You can be in the 200s behind us, just in the general area near the bullpen so that we can support MacArthur. He's going to join us on the show tomorrow live from the Urban Youth Academy. But real quick on this, we were quickly, give ourselves a little bit of credit. We were quickly blamed because we brought up MacArthur's 9th Infantry. I maybe fired off a premature tweet right before he blew a game, and it did not look great that I had sent that, and then he blew the game, and it went ugly there in a hurry. Since then, MacArthur has gotten every single save he's been asked to get during that time. Did he give up a couple of home runs in between there? Sure. Did it cost the Royals the baseball game? Absolutely not. Did he put 2 guys on base last night? Sure. Did it cost the Royals the baseball game? No. MacArthur, a guy who's just getting used to the closer roles, doing great. So MacArthur's 9th Infantry stands strong. Gold, there was a brief period of time where maybe we were worried that we were going to have to change our name to the 7th Infantry or 8th Infantry, but no.
Yeah, some people dodged the battle, I think, after that one appearance.
Yeah, they wanted to leave right after. They wanted to be...
As we warned you at the time, it's not just one battle, man. It's a long, long season. We marched on.
Deserters.
We're ready to go. You can still enlist, though, as Cody said, for tomorrow night, 9th Infantry. And as we joke, someone said, "Can I bring my kids?" Yes. There's no age. No.
Nope. This is just like the wars of older times.
Yeah. Anybody can enlist.
Like
we don't
drummer
care.
boys, whatever.
We need as many people as possible. It's that simple. We need as many as possible. And you can go to Royals.com, obviously, and purchase your tickets in those sections 150, 151, 152, as Cody was saying. And we hope to see you guys out there tomorrow night. It's also Dollar Dog Night if you need another incentive besides supporting our guy, the general.
And someone said, so if you can't make it at 5:30, you can go to raygunsite.com. You can order a shirt. Now, by tomorrow, that's going to be express shipping. They have them in the store. So down in the Crossroads, if you know, I want to come, I want to be a part of it, I can't get there by 5:30, no big deal. You can go down to the shop and get a shirt there. Someone says, I thought you told me it was 39 shirts. It is. I did promise one to JJ Piccolo, the Royals general manager.
Let's just be real. It's less than 39 as well. But anyway, let's just let it say. If we're saying 40 because that's the number we ordered.
40 is the comfortable number. It's not way below that. That's right. And that's how many hats
says it sounds like a cult. Hey,
fine.
Whatever, you can join. 9th Infantry.
Yeah, we don't care which, But, does it have to be a cult? Can't we just be a unit?
We're an infantry.
Can't we just, we're a mobilized group of infantry here to support James MacArthur. And he seems on board with it. Otherwise, I don't think he'd be coming on our show.
We're gonna mention, I'm sure he's heard, but we're gonna mention it to him tomorrow when he joins the show in person. We'll have the shirts already on, so he'll see it. We'll have the banner behind us, hopefully, as well. And the way things are setting up, he didn't pitch yesterday, so he got to save Saturday night, off yesterday. So depending on how he pitches tonight, if he gets an opportunity, hopefully that arm's ready to go for Tuesday night. I was a little worried if he got in yesterday, then we would have been. So we need him. I'll be honest. I hope the Royals don't need a save opportunity tonight. I hope that they're just cruising.
I don't care if they have a save opportunity tonight, but it needs to be a quick one.
Just cruise. No,
12
just
pitches.
blow out the Tigers.
Okay,
5-0 in the 9th, and then they don't have to use them. That way the arm is fresh for us on Tuesday night. That's what we need.
In a dream scenario, he does come out under the lights to no longer White Horse by Chris Stapleton, but instead
it's Welcome to the Jungle, which is way more common, not as unique.
Yeah,
I like the White Horse intro. Not Caller Brian, but
and apparently not James MacArthur anymore.
Yeah.
Fire
he decided
to change it up. I think when you're doing the lower lights, I do think you need something with a little more
juice,
energy.
That's probably fair.
A little more.
I just think Welcome to the Jungle though, everybody uses that.
Yeah,
Joaquin Soria had it back in the day too.
It's a little bit like using For Whom the Bell there's some classic rock songs that get used in these situations a lot. That's what made and now he's blown a bunch of saves.
But he got demoted.
Edwin Diaz.
Edwin Diaz had the trumpet.
Yeah, it was
man. The best, but no, he's
got
lost it.
Yeah,
Ever since the injury in the World Baseball Classic, he's not been the same. Remember that last year? He got hurt in the World Baseball Classic, missed most of the season, and he's not the same, and they just demoted him. He was, I guess, really emotional in the clubhouse or whatever, but that's the Mets' problem.
This was our argument for why you shouldn't have jumped ship anyway, is that relievers come and go, and they are variable in their performance level. We trusted that MacArthur would get back on track, and he did. We'll see you tomorrow night.
That's right. T-shirts, raygunshirts.com.
Probably need somebody to help us hold that banner. It's good size.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll be set for that. All right, guys, coming up next, let's talk about another pitcher on this staff and what he's been able to do. And Cody has a suggestion that I think's a little too early, but we'll get into that next.
Cody and Gold.
If the Royals win the World Series, I will get, and you can mark it if you want, but
I'll
everybody get this tattooed on my body.
Who gives We're winning games.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And though I generally talk about medicine and effective treatments for erectile dysfunction and other men's sexual health issues, today I want to talk about love. Because love is the best reason to get treated for your ED. You see, ED can cause major relationship issues. In fact, men often push their partners away when ED becomes a problem. The condition can cause depression, arguments, breakups, and even contribute to divorce. But the good news is that if you're like most men suffering with ED, you can be successfully treated at Heartland Men's Health and put a stop to the relationship stresses that ED can cause. I say this with all confidence because we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Truly, it's likely you'll find you're performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and get the love back in your life. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and now North Kansas City.
96 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of Kansas City has been repairing and replacing garage doors. They are the only authorized dealer of Overhead Door brand products in Kansas City. Locally owned and operated since 1927, headquartered in Olathe. Always look for the iconic red ribbon to be sure you're dealing with the genuine, original Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. For same-day repair service 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of Kansas City or schedule online at ohdkc.com. ohdkc.com.
One of my favorite times of the year are here with the NBA playoffs. It's tipped off, but it's not too late to get in on the action with FanDuel because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150. You can bet on who you think is going to win an individual series, who's going to have 20 points tonight, who's going to knock down a couple of three-pointers. You even can predict who you think is going to win the NBA Finals. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action. We got an exciting NBA playoffs ahead, and you don't want to miss it with FanDuel. Use my promo code CDOT, FanDuel.com/CDOT to get started. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler-dodge-jeepram.com.
Kansas City area Catbackers. The Wildcats will be at the Pavilion at Theater in the Park at Shawnee Mission Park at 7710 Renner Road in Shawnee, Wednesday, May 22nd. The 6:30 program features Jerome Tang, football assistant Matt Wells, student athletes, new Alumni Association President Adam Walker, Willie the Wildcat, and the K-State cheer team. Food and drink trucks will be available, and there is no cost to attend. No RSVP is needed. Call 620-755-0978 for information. See you May 22nd in Shawnee. Go Cats.
The sun is out, the water's fine, and the crew is ready to party. Summer is here. Hy-Vee has everything you need to make a huge splash this Memorial Day. Fire up the grill and impress your guests with prime reserve steaks, chicken grillers, or specialty brats. Don't forget our ready-to-serve side dishes. Cool off with some tasty refreshments from our wide selection of beverages, wine, and spirits. Make a splash into summer this Memorial Day weekend at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee.
Hey, it's Kling. That time on the calendar is upon us, Memorial Day, a time to gather and reflect. Well, Hy-Vee's your one-stop shop for our Memorial Day celebrations. Patio furniture, gas and charcoal grills, and all the accessories. Grilling favorites, including prime reserve cuts of beef and Hy-Vee's famous specialty brats, like the pineapple or the jalapeno cheddar. Spend even less time in the kitchen with Hy-Vee's full-service catering or ready-to-serve meals, including ribs, barbecue chicken, and pork. And don't forget the huge selection of wine, beer, and spirits. One stop for all your Memorial Day needs, only at Hy-Vee.
Summer's just getting started, so fill your cooler with the smooth and refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. It tastes like real iced tea because it's made with real brewed tea. And with a 5% kick of alcohol, Twisted Tea is perfect for the beach, the lake, or wherever you're hanging out and day drinking with your friends. Look for the bright yellow cans. Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted.
Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Save big this Memorial Day at Lowe's. Right now, save on 1.5-gallon annual hanging baskets. Get 2 for just $20. Plus, buy one, get one 50% off. Select interior and exterior paint and exterior stain via Lowe's gift card rebate. Shop these deals before they're gone because Lowe's knows summer savings. Valid through 5/29. Hanging baskets in-store only. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. Paint. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details while supplies last.
Get 5 quarts of O'Reilly Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a MicroGuard oil filter for $31.99 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. In-store only. Limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
With Wendy's new $3 English muffin deal, you can get your choice of a sausage or bacon, egg, and cheese English muffin with small seasoned potatoes.
And with all that for just $3, it really is a proper breakfast, wouldn't you say? Huh? With a light and fluffy toasted English muffin and crispy seasoned potatoes. Go on, Catherine, give it a go.
Okay. Jolly good morning.
Ah, close love. Grab a proper breakfast with Wendy's new $3 English muffin deal for a limited time.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Select a request English muffin deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders. Single item at regular price. Prices are higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. As part of the Let's Play Sports Equipment Drive presented by Pinnacle Bank, please consider donating to the Urban Youth Academy by dropping off new and gently used sports equipment at participating Gates Barbecue locations. Go to 610sports.com for more details or to donate. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Sports Station.
You have to play this again tomorrow when James MacArthur joins us.
We will. Definitely when we come back from break. That's a given. I was going through during the break. There's some YouTube page had like the top 5 closer intros of all time. And of course, we were talking about Edwin Diaz with the Mets, and he just got demoted, but that's an all-timer. Mariano Rivera is I don't think you can touch that one anymore. Like that one, that's just his.
Not if you're a closer. I think you could step up to the plate with it.
Sure, who's doing that though, really? But yeah.
I don't know, man. People choose all kinds of things.
Do you think that you think Edwin Diaz is still having that played when he in AAA?
You don't get an intro when he's demoted as in he's the 8th inning guy now.
Oh, well, but if you get optioned,
you don't get an intro unless you're a closer.
Yeah, I don't think you get one. I mean, unless back in maybe in the HDH days, but for the most part, it would have to be a very special circumstance. A little bit of Royals news in the minor leagues. Chandler Champlain, he's one of the Royals' top prospects. He was Texas League's Player of the Month.
Okay.
He has been optioned, or he's been sent up to AAA, so he will now be a member of the Omaha Storm Chasers. Okay. His last 6 starts with Arkansas, he had a 1.62 ERA, 33 innings pitched in 6 starts, 44 strikeouts to 6 walks. And between called strikes and whiff rate, 37%. So one guy, one step closer to the big leagues, Chandler Champlain. He's very, very highly thought of prospect. I can't remember exactly where he ranks in MLB pipelines, but he's top 10, I think. Could be a guy they use later, you know? You never know. Maybe a guy you see make a debut, Gold. This year's probably a bit rich. If he's getting promoted now, maybe September call-up. But remember, they only
It's not the same.
They
it's
get
not the
so
same.
few
It's
now.
not the way it used to be at all. And if you're in the middle of hopefully a pennant chase, you know,
In the middle of a divisional race?
It's it's a little bit.
Hey, they called up. Come on. Have some respect on Brandon Finnegan's name.
Brandon Finnegan was drafted that year and was, clearly was brought up to be a reliever and was ready to go and obviously helped him out.
I looked it up, by the way. MLB Pipeline currently has him as the number 11 prospect in their system.
Now people are bringing back Mike McDougal, Rock Me Like a Hurricane.
It's always classic rock
Talk about something. This is, closers, other than the all-time greats, they have 1 year, 2 year runs, and then they flame out. I mean, that's what was so special about what HGH did. But, Mike McDougal was a name, man. Just dominant for 1 year. Dominant for 1 year. It was fun.
I'll
and then just
never
fell off
forget
a
that
cliff.
curveball that
Just
throws
fell
Albert
off.
Pujols for the rest of my life. I don't know why, but that's just a moment. Watching him freeze him up for one moment. It's just a happy time.
What's crazy is that let me ask you this, because I thought it was, what's the most saves you think he had?
30.
27. He didn't even get to 30, but it seems so dumb. That's how starved we were. In 2003, he had 27 saves, Mike McDougal.
And how many does James MacArthur have now?
And he was
11?
an all-star. He was an all-star.
Well, did they have another all-star? Oh, in 2003? Might have been their only all-star.
Baroa? No?
Harvey was
Not a
around
shortstop.
that time.
Yeah, not a shortstop.
Ken Harvey still holds the proper distinguishment of the only player in Major League Baseball history to be named an all-star for a club in the same year he was sent back to AAA.
Sorry, I'm looking at my random Mike McDougal. We weren't planning on talking about Mike McDougal today, I can promise you.
You never know.
He was in the league for 12 years.
Dude, he had a career.
Great career. Made sure he got the benefits, was there for 10 plus or whatever.
Went to the White Sox after being in Kansas City, right?
White Sox and Nationals and Cardinals and Dodgers.
I mean, he really did have a decent career. He had a 4 earned run average, pitched in 407 games. I love some Mike McDougal during that time. Boy, that was a run. He was only on the team 2 years after that, and then he got traded. Ugh.
That was a weird time.
Well, in fairness, he was on the 2003 squad, and then he finished his season on the 4, 5, and 6 teams. And if anyone remembers, those teams lost a combined 330 games or so. So it was probably time to move on from your reliever and find him a new home.
While we're talking pitching, got to continue to love what they're getting from Brady Singer, who has bounced back from last season to what he's now doing now. And I know we've talked about Brian Sweeney, their pitching coach, and giving him a ton of credit for that.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason I'm so ready to see Daniel Lynch back up in the big leagues again. Sauer seems like the obvious move because I want them to just work out a cash deal. I'm not even saying get rid of Sauer. I'm just saying, hey, he struggled enough, and you don't trust him to pitch right now. They don't trust Sauer to pitch unless it's a game that is really out of hand, good or bad. And if that's the position you're in for a team that's 10 games above 500, it's hard to carry a roster spot for a player you have no intention to playing unless the game is completely out of control. That's a tough spot to keep a roster spot in. And because Brian Sweeney seems to be working magic with anybody who's in the big league level, I kind of want Lynch working with him, even if it's in the bullpen and not as a starter right now. I want to see Lynch more at the big league level to know what you have available there if and when another injury happens in the rotation and you need him to make more starts, if and when you want to use him out of the bullpen to strengthen that area of your team, which does need some strengthening. Like, I just think that there's an ability now that I'm right at starting that timeline. Maybe it's not today. Maybe it's 2 weeks from now. But I would start considering how it is you're planning on using Lynch so you can get him in Brian Sweeney's hands.
We saw what he did when Alec Marsh was on the IL. First it was Bolin, and then it was Daniel Lynch getting an opportunity to pitch, and they were thrilled with the 5 innings he gave them. I would like to keep him stretched out, though, a little bit, because there's a decent chance there's another injury at some point. Someone has to go on the IL in the rotation for an outing or two. Hopefully not, but there's just a chance of that always happening in a 162-game season. And so I think that's where I'm at, Cody. On May 20th, I'm fine. Keep him stretched out. Keep working on things in AAA. And if he needs to make a spot start, you call him back up. Now, if it's July and you're looking at the trade deadline and you aren't able to acquire the bullpen arm that you might want to acquire, and I think they'll have opportunities to do that.
Looking to AAA is an option.
Then to me, that's maybe realistic. Or there's an injury in the bullpen that happens. Like they've been very fortunate to this point. But I get your thought on the Lynch thing. I just think there's no reason to shift that yet.
I think it's
as far as Matt Sauer goes. Well, I mean, the Rule 5 thing complicates, and no question. Otherwise, he probably would have already been sent down. But right now, he's just pitching in zero leverage situations.
You know what it is? It's kind of like that living meme, which is just like, Lord, I've seen what you've done for others. Please do it for me. I've seen what Brian Sweeney and this pitching staff has accomplished with the Royals rotation, and I want to see it with yet another guy who I have always said and still feel has a ton of talent. So if he has a ton of talent, I kind of want him with the best of the best, working with the best, working with those guys. Because right now, Cole Reagans has got a 3.5 earned run average. He's coming off a tremendous start. We know how good Seth Lugo is. He leads major leagues in quality starts. He's coming off back-to-back 10 strikeout games. Brady Singer just had 9 strikeouts in his last start and has a sub-3 ERA. Walker's been good, and Marsh has been great. And so you're like, hey, part of it is just like wanting him to pair him with the right person. Like, if you've got someone down there right now who's done with in my opinion, Lynch is pretty close to done with we're developing you. Like, his time with, the learn and grow is coming to a close. And his time is...
Well, he's 27.
Yeah.
He's 27
That's
years
what I'm
old.
saying.
I mean...
It's performance time. It's time to count on you. No more, to me, it's like, I'm almost done with, he's down in AAA, just get stretched out. He can get stretched out in the big leagues if something happens. And for now... If he's got good stuff and Brian Sweeney can work with him, I want him getting outs. Like, I'm ready for outs, not players. And again, this is not meant to be like a knock on Sauer. Like, he's struggled. I think everyone can see that. And I still think there's a place for Sauer in the Royals organization. It just comes via trade for cash. Now, look, maybe the team who has him likes him enough that they're not going to do that for you. Royals, they've gotten a lot of juice out of Rule 5 players. They got the best of Brad Keller's career out of a Rule 5 draft. They found guys who have worked for them in that, or, Soria, we're talking closers.
Right.
They, as an organization, have a good history of finding some Rule 5 talent. I'm just saying, find a different way to utilize it so you can get outs at the big league level. I don't like carrying roster players who you don't trust to do their job. You're only putting them in there in the case that they could kind of blow it.
Right. I mean, every team has innings eaters, right, when there's garbage time. That's not unique. I mean, if Jordan Lyles was with the team, he'd be getting a lot of those opportunities too.
Yeah.
Right.
I hope everything's okay with him.
That still is ongoing. Yeah, he's still away from the organization. At one point, they said they still expected him back. That was 3 weeks ago, maybe. But obviously, something very, very important for him to be taken care of. So we wish him the best. But yeah, the Daniel Lynch thing, 27. I think it's good to point that out because he's 27 years old. I mean,
if he's 23, if it's a kid we just talked about, if it's
yeah.
Chandler or Champlain, then I'm not even having this conversation, okay? We're good.
Mm-hmm.
We can take our time. Guy can pitch in AAA. What's the rush in getting into the big leagues? There's years and years. Daniel Lynch has been in the big leagues. He's been off and on in the big leagues a bunch. His problem was always health, and that's the other part. Sometimes when players don't have a history of health, I love taking advantage of the times in which they are healthy. Let's say Daniel Lynch can't be healthy 2 months from now. We can get you outs now, Gold. He's available right now to get you outs. Are you sure you don't want to take advantage of the outs you can have now versus the hypothetical outs he might not be able to give you later based on his injury history? And again, it's not like I'm not in a rush. I'm not saying you have to do it today or pushing but I'm open to it.
Drew, I'll give you $100 right now if you can guess the middle name of Daniel Lynch. I don't know if Cody knows.
I don't.
I didn't know until I just saw it, but that's why I have to point it out.
Can I have a clue?
It starts with an A. That's it. That's all you get.
Oh, man, no way I would have guessed that.
No chance.
I will say I was not going to guess that one. Arthur?
That would have been a fair guess. No.
Aloysius.
Aloysius?
Aloysius is how that's pronounced.
Aloysius?
Mm-hmm. I would have never guessed that his middle name was Aloysius.
No.
Instead of, look,
how have we never asked him about that? He's Daniel Aloysius Lynch.
That sounds like a
fourth. So there are 3 other Daniel Aloysiuses.
Well, remember that he changed on the back of his jersey. Remember, it used to say Lynch. Now it says Lynch the fourth.
How do you spell it?
Aloysius. Aloysius. Like I've seen that name. Name before, but it's also in like the last time. It's probably like when I'm watching like Deadwood on HBO or something. It's not like a current name.
According to dictionary.com, it is a male given name from a Germanic word meaning famous warrior. I have no idea.
Even more reason to call him up. Are we kidding here?
I have no idea.
Why isn't he going by Aloysius? He's a pitcher, and his middle name means famous warrior? Oh.
You want him to switch to his middle name.
There's a saint, by the way, so maybe he was named after that. There's a Saint Aloysius Gonzaga. I'm not making that up.
They only lived to be 23.
Is that what the University of Gonzaga is named after?
I don't know. Drew.
Is it named after this Gonzaga guy?
According to Drew, he's a blue blood then.
He's a blue blood.
He is.
Because he was canonized in 1725.
According to Drew, he's a blue blood.
Canonized in 1725, 300 years of sainthood. You're going to tell me that guy's not a blue blood?
More of a blue blood than Gonzaga, that's for sure.
He died in the Papal States. That guy's, I mean, that's classic blue blood stuff.
Oh boy. Go ahead.
On Gonzaga's educational page with the history, it says when it was founded, it seemed fitting to name the new school after his fellow Jesuit and fellow Italian Saint Aloysius Gonzaga.
Hey, so it is. I mean, it makes sense. I was like, what are the odds that there's an Aloysius Gonzaga and it's not named after that? By the way, could you imagine having this sitting written about you? Gonzaga was born as the eldest of 8 children at his family's castle. Do you wish your family had a castle? That'd be pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I just am laughing how it's my fault, but just we were talking about Daniel Lynch, and we have worked ourselves to talking about Saints and Gonzaga, and it all ties together, I promise.
This isn't even like a meandering thought. This is a real train of logic.
That's right.
Thanks, Aloysius. Yeah, I had no idea that was his middle name.
It's a pretty...
When we have Vern on Thursday, can we ask him if he knew?
I bet you he did.
He probably did.
I feel like Vern knows all that stuff.
Without having to look it up
I just feel like Vern at some point,
guide or
at
whatever.
some point, Vern many years ago probably found it and looked it up, and he's like, "Yeah, I've known. Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's my guess. That's my guess. I wanted.
Sorry, distract us with Gonzaga talk.
No, I wanted to get something I thought was kind of interesting with where things are at with rookies right now in the league. And, we saw this past weekend, the NFLPA had what they call their premier event weekend, right? It's where they do some of their trading card photos, but also they're signed on through the NFLPA and, jersey sales and things like that. Well, you guys maybe have been following the Cardinals rookie wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. Remember, he was holding out. He didn't kind of sign the deal with the NFLPA or whatever for jerseys. He had a while back maybe agreed to a deal with Fanatics to have them become like his official autograph provider. Well, now Fanatics is filing a lawsuit against Marvin Harrison Jr. They're alleging breach of contract. There was a lawsuit filed on Saturday in New York. He did not fulfill his obligations, according to them, and estimate the damage in millions of dollars. So what they say is the deal was for $1 million for autographs, signed trading cards, game-worn apparel, and other marketing opportunities. Harrison does not have an agent. His dad, Marvin Harrison, represents him, and he has yet to still sign the NFLPA association agreement, which will allow the association to use his name and marketing image likeness. This is just weird. It's a weird story. Like,
why cause yourself this problem coming into the league?
Right.
And also, this is pretty much exactly what everyone kept threatening Caleb Williams was going to do. And he's had no such headlines mentioned about him.
Fair.
This is whatever, like, Caleb Williams' dad's going to make him go to a warm weather dome city or whatever nonsense people were saying at that time, and which has not been the case. They're saying they have a signed agreement and they're taking him to court. I don't think Fanatics take someone to court without some evidence of a signed agreement. They're saying they gave him $1 million to be the only place to get autographed memorabilia from Marvin Harrison Jr. I just don't know why you would cause yourself these problems. These agreements are actually relatively staple. They're not that hard to figure out for these athletes because thousands of people ahead of you have made these contracts.
Yeah, because ultimately, I don't think it's going to have an impact on his career, but you're right. In fairness, everybody was being critical about another prospect in Caleb Williams or anybody else.
Yeah.
And Marvin Harrison Jr. is the kid that maybe is causing a little bit of problem. If I'm the Cardinals, though, like this has really no bearing on them unless you think he's going to be a pain in the ass suddenly.
All the time.
But in terms of on the field, this really doesn't mean anything. It's just kind of bizarre. And like you said, it's just, okay, that's he didn't go to the combine and all that. That's fine. But
Or
now
the
it's
pro
something
day,
else
yeah.
that he's not going through with, or maybe, if it's true, and of course his lawyers were disputing it, but if it's true that he signed some agreement and then now it's like, no, just like you realize you signed that, like that's legally binding kind of thing.
Was it like a napkin agreement? Like the one that just sold for Lionel Messi?
Yeah.
Did you see that? His napkin agreement sold for like $1 million, like
Ravel had
$900
some
and something
tweet.
$1,000.
We talked about it briefly in the bullpen, but maybe this is, again, he doesn't have an agent maybe to help him guide through these things. His dad's representing him.
His dad, who's been in the league as a Hall of Famer.
But he's used to
represent you, though.
He's used to the NIL. I'm going to do whatever I want, and whatever money comes my way, I'm going to do this. And maybe somebody alongside Fanatics is like, "Hey, you want to come and do this event?" And he's like, "Sure." And then there's some again, we don't know all the details of it necessarily, but you're used to in college with name, image, and likeness. You're able to not necessarily skate the rules because there are no rules. You're allowed to kind of just do whatever.
It's kind of the Wild West right now.
Yeah, you're able to do whatever makes you money that you're represented by, where there's more of a contractual obligation, a lot of specifics with what Fanatics is probably trying to do.
I also think that, that might be, and look, I think people have mentioned this, there might be a transition period between college and the pros that happens over the next 3 or 4 years while they're still sorting out NIL with exactly this issue, Drew, what you're talking about, where teams, especially teams like the Chiefs, like to control everything about kind of what you're doing. They're not saying you can't do stuff. They're not saying Travis Kelce can't go be in a sitcom or can't do commercials. They obviously don't prevent you from doing those things, but they want them to be less just like fly by the seat of your pants. They kind of like to know what you're up to. And in college right now, it's not really like that. It is just kind of a free-for-all money grab, get the cash where you can get it. But the problem is if you sign an agreement with Fanatics to be the only place they can get it, and at least that's what they're claiming, then you can't do that. I guess the thing I always have, like this goes back to like the Wanya thing we talked about, is like when there's already people who are causing issues, is like, is this how you want to start your NFL career? Is in some silly Fanatics breach of contract stuff? Normally I just always feel like come into the league easy.
Well, it's that
come
and
in
it's the
smooth,
NFLPA thing with the jerseys. It's everything.
He seemed to be wanting more money than
I hear you.
His comparables.
I'm with you, but also still in the grand scheme of things, like I don't think the Cardinals, like this doesn't mean anything for
yeah.
Kyler Murray throwing him touchdown passes in 2024.
No. Should it impact his field of play?
Now, if he suddenly, we find out he's at camp and he's refusing to do something team-related, whole different story. But
it already feels like he might not be the player who's ever going to take a discount for you. That's for
and
sure.
that's his own right, by the way.
Sure.
Like that I have no problem with. But yes, you would prefer it to be a little more smooth sailing. But on the football end, this is truly no bearing on what's going on at practice, unless we start seeing stories that there's an issue there. But him, not signing a licensing agreement or something is, in the grand scheme of things, is not really going to be a problem.
And not to say that people aren't going to root for him, but you would think as a fan, I want to be able to wear my number one, like potentially the best wide receiver.
Yeah.
Who could be, one of the best wide receivers in our history, potentially. I want to have his jersey.
Yeah, he's a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
I do think that, for the most part, all the things that have been said about him on the field are he is a tremendous teammate.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, there was an interview during the draft process between him and his dad, and he's like, "Hey, if you could change one thing about your son's game, what would it be?" And he said, "I wish he'd demand the ball more." He said, "I wish he would go to the quarterback and say, 'Throw me the ball,' and stop." He said he wished his kid was more selfish as a football player. So, by all accounts, he's the opposite of that, if that's what his dad is doing. But then in a weird way, because his dad is his agent, and this is a non-football related thing, it kind of feels like his dad is being the selfish one here and causing these money problems. It's not a crazy leap to make. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
his dad's saying, be a more selfish football player, and now he's running into monetary stuff off. It's not a crazy leap.
Yeah,
no, I can see how you
speculating.
I can see how you get there. I mean,
it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's not unprecedented. There's no way.
I'm not just
true.
out of control here, making wild speculation. There's a way to get there from A to B.
I hear you. I think it'll all end up being just fine for Harrison, unless we're sitting here and it's a week before the season and we find out that he's refusing to do something that the rest of the team is all doing, or then
skipping workouts and stuff. Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
I don't think so either.
Does Caleb have representation? Does he have proper representation?
I believe so.
So this is the. Not that you want your dad to get out of the picture, but this is one of those things like LaMelo, I'm sure, has his own agent now where he works with somebody. It's not just
Bobby
his
Wood
dad.
Jr. worked with his dad. His dad works for the agency he's on his deals.
Caleb Williams has an advisor that used to be, and it is currently a certified agent, but technically he doesn't have an agent. But
he's not formally.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that you need to have separate, because the agent will help you understand things maybe that your dad doesn't necessarily understand in regards to legal stuff. I'm sure it's buried in there in the contract. Hey, you're not able to do anything else with anybody else. I'm sure it's in there, and they don't even assume, because I think part of that is not that it is a serious issue, but some of the athletes who get NIL, they either don't understand that they have to do taxes on it.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different kind.
They don't understand that, where they need somebody needs to be there.
Well,
to
that's an
help
accountant, not an
explain.
agent. You should definitely have one of those if you're making millions of dollars.
Yeah,
definitely get an accountant. If you're making millions, that's why Gold has 3 on
You
retainer.
have to have 3 on retainer. You have to,
right?
Just in case to manage large sums of money that are constantly flowing into my bank account. Man, it's I don't even know. I don't even know when we get paid. When do we get paid? Doesn't matter. We're good. It doesn't even matter.
It just shows up in the account.
It just doesn't matter. Nothing like that. All right, guys. We'll get to what's trending coming up next and talk more about the AL Central. I think it's a little too early to be declaring this, but we'll discuss it when it comes to the current 2-team race right now in the Central.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
There is a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
On your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
It's golf season, Kansas City. Quick Trip and Flight want you to experience it in style. From May 3rd to May 31st, go to any local Quick Trip to purchase your 12-pack of Flight and enter to win a VIP round on us. Flight, coming in at only 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, it is the next generation of light beer. Raise the bar with the easy-drinking, clean, crisp, and refreshing beer from America's oldest brewery. Flight by Yingling. Golf prize includes a Flight golf bag, cooler, and a 4-person round of golf brought to you by Flight and Quick Trip.
Patio season is here, and if you want to replace your patio door, you'll want to call my friends over at Renewal by Anderson. Hey guys, Rob Britton from The Drive here. Renewal by Anderson's gliding patio doors are highly engineered to ensure they're open and closed for years in any weather. And speaking of engineering, Renewal by Anderson's parent company, Anderson, spent nearly 30 years researching and developed their Fibrex composite window material. It's 2 times stronger than vinyl and available in 9 exterior colors. Help make your home more comfortable and beautiful with Renewal by Anderson's windows and patio doors. Call by May 31st and you'll get this incredible deal. Save $325 on every window and $735 on every patio door, with interest as low as 4.99% for 10 years. Call 913-364-0200. That's 913-364-0200. One more time, 913-364-0200.
Hi, Kansas City. This is Kevin Harlan. I know being a champion means you're a leader in your field and you always rise above your competition. That's why when summer temperatures get extreme, our home has a Champion air conditioning system that keeps my family comfortable and cool. Get peak performance in your home by finding a local Champion dealer at championhomecomfort.com. Ask about our special financing options with rates as low as 0% and our factory-backed extended parts and labor warranty. Always leading, never compromising, championhomecomfort.com.
Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician. Dick Ray is a man on a mission. When it's hot and humid, your AC's failing and it's causing quite the fuss. There's an AC expert you know that you can trust. He's there for us. Call Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician.
Hi, it's Dick. Get 0% for 25 months on everything at Dick Ray. Call 913-DICK-RAY.
This is the absolute worst time of year to have to be dealing with joint pain. You can't do all those outdoor activities you love to do. Hey, it's Bob Fesco. Don't go through the summer missing out on life. Call QC Kinetics now and find out how they can use biologics from your own body to give new life to your achy joints. QC's regenerative medicine protocols can restore and repair that damaged tissue with no surgery, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime. This is the future of medicine. Tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients around the country are living their best life this year because they made the call. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Revolutionary treatments for joint pain are here. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 and State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
With Wendy's new $3 English muffin deal, you can get your choice of a sausage or bacon, egg, and cheese English muffin with small seasoned potatoes.
And with all that for just $3, it really is a proper breakfast, wouldn't you say? Huh? With a light and fluffy toasted English muffin and crispy seasoned potatoes. Go on, Catherine, give it a go.
Okay. Jolly good morning.
Ah, close love. Grab a proper breakfast with Wendy's new $3 English muffin deal for a limited time.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Select a request English muffin deal to obtain discount. Not valid for a la carte or combo orders. Single item at regular price. Prices are higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
If you are drowning with $25, $50, even $100,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt, listen to the following reviews people just like you are giving accredited debt relief and why you should make the call.
I'm glad I made that call. I feel like I can finally breathe again.
In one afternoon, several tons of financial stress vanished.
I truly felt like I was talking to a friend.
Well, I feel like I did business with a guardian angel. I literally cried. Thank you for saving my life.
Imagine feeling that kind of relief. It can happen. Make the call. Learn how much they can save you. There's no pressure, no obligation, just a call. Accredited Debt Relief has helped over 300,000 qualified consumers pay off over $1 billion in debt, earning an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They are the debt solution experts. So see how much they can save you. Call 877-250-8884. 877-250-8884. That's 877-250-8884. Program and services not available in all states.
Here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, the Royals 10 games above 500. They're going for their fourth win in a row tonight against the Detroit Tigers after sweeping the A's over the weekend. Michael Wacha gets the nod tonight. 6:40 first pitch right here on 610 Sports Radio. Vern's on Deck show at 5:30. And we'll be out at the K tomorrow night for the Royals-Tigers game when Alec Marsh will be on the bump, and we'll be cheering on General MacArthur, MacArthur's 9th Infantry. That's tomorrow night. You can still buy tickets, sections 150, 151, 152. Those are the seats right above the bullpen. And we'll be in Lot H right around 5:30 tomorrow night. First 40 listeners, we'll have some T-shirts. You guys have seen them probably by now, the MacArthur 9th Infantry shirts, plus a Green Army cap. You got to suit up.
Can't wait. The Royals won, 8 of their last 11? 3 in a row because they'd lost the last game of that last series. But they are certainly more than ready to try to go and continue their winning streak tonight against Detroit. Someone said they're 2-8 in their last 10 against Detroit, though. Should we be concerned?
Well, it turns out some of those were from last year when they were a 56-win team. I'm not going to reference a last 10 stat that goes back to last year because
it just stunk?
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, slightly different. Next up on What's Trending, the PGA Championship was over the weekend. Xander Schauffele got his first ever major championship, winning $3.3 million with a score of 21 under par, barely beating out Bryson DeChambeau. Nearly had a playoff there late in there. Victor Hovland played great. Morikawa finished in the top 5. But it was Schauffele who got his very first championship, 21 under par. Did you see that little video of Bryson DeChambeau toss the ball to the kid?
Yeah.
And then some adult snagged it in front of the kid. He's like, no.
And he waited.
That ball is for that kid.
Good
Give
for him.
him the ball back. I love those moments because the autograph-seeking ball hound hawk nonsense, especially when you're stealing it from children, it's ludicrous. It was nice to see him just be like, no. Give him the ball back.
Yeah.
That's got to suck, by the way, to be standing there.
Embarrassing.
And Bryson DeChambeau
Yeah.
just embarrass your ass in front of everybody.
No, Bryson, you know what's weird? We all know the live stuff with him, but he's become a little more likable, which is kind of interesting all of a sudden to see that. I think people like the emotion. Yeah, I think people like the emotions. And he almost forced a playoff yesterday. But congrats to Xander Schauffele, who finally gets his first major. Next up on What's Trending, NBA playoffs. We now have the West and the Eastern Conference Finals set up. Tomorrow night, we'll get the Eastern Conference Final, Pacers and Celtics, as the Pacers win a Game 7 at Madison Square Garden to knock off the Knicks.
Easily, too.
Just like in 1995, I guess, right? Very similar.
Yeah.
And then the Mavericks and the Timberwolves, that'll be on Wednesday. Timberwolves, massive comeback, largest Game 7 comeback in playoff history. They also went on the road in a Game 7 over the Nuggets. They're going to host the Dallas Mavericks.
Celtics, by the way, are heavy favorites in their series, at least on this end. Pretty much not, obviously a little more even on the Mavericks side of things. Next up on What's Trending, Chiefs beginning Phase 3 of off-season training today. Adam Schefter reporting Rashee Rice will be at all team activities and participating in action. Andy Reid is scheduled to talk to the media on Wednesday, in which I imagine he'll be asked about a lot of different things, including maybe an update on Rashee Rice. Well, look, I'll be honest. Rashee Rice has been in the news 2 different times this. One way more serious than the other. Good to see him back at practice. That way you can stay busy when you're in trouble. It's typically a good strategy.
I think it's a good thing for him to be back in Kansas City and around an organized activity, not just because they call him OTA. Well, usually make fun of the organized team activity name. It actually makes sense in this thing for him. Lastly on What's Trending, Major League Baseball has opened an investigation into allegations that former L.A. Angels infielder David Fletcher gambled with an illegal bookie, source telling ESPN. Investigators do acknowledge they face a significant hurdle, though, at the beginning because they got to figure out how they're going to get evidence. ESPN had reported back on Friday that Fletcher, who's now in the Braves organization as a AAA member, bet on sports but not baseball, but it was with Matthew Boyer, and if that name rings the bell, that's the same Southern California bookmaker who took wagers from the interpreter of Shohei Ohtani, Ippei, and Ippei, remember, had since pled guilty to those charges and faces up to 30 years in prison. So we shall see how this plays out, but it's still all linking together with the same bookie and somehow around Shohei, and that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, no, it's certainly, look, it doesn't ever look good on Shohei that another person being described as probably his best friend teammate over the last 3 years is the guy who was also betting with the same guys he played. Now, look, could have been hanging out. He pays like, oh, you want a guy to bet with? Here's my guy.
Possibly.
And Fletcher used him, not realizing the same problem, that it was an illegal bookmaker. And if you're wondering, how do they not know that? I don't know, man. Athletes screw that stuff up all the time. I'll just be honest with you. People screw that stuff up all the time where they think something is above board that isn't. But also, I'll be honest, it does not look good for Shohei that yet another person who's been described as very close with him is betting with that illegal bookmaker. When people were already speculating, oh, they're just the league's covering for him. They're covering for their big star, Shohei Ohtani.
This will be one of those things in sports or life where, like, no matter what happens on the legal end, people for the rest of their life are just going to say, oh, obviously he did it.
Yeah.
There's many things like that in history and society where, like, no matter what the legal realm was or whatever the factual stuff says, people be like, are always going to assume Shohei must have been doing, even though the FBI has said he's a victim.
You will never be able to convince me that Robert Kraft didn't pay Tom Brady under the table to take a discount.
See, stuff like that, right?
Never be able to prove
like
otherwise. Good luck proving it.
There's so many examples. I mean, we just go back. I mean, we all saw the reaction the day OJ passed away. Everybody's, on an extreme end, we're talking about something different, but like it's the same thing.
He did do it. That's different. I can prove that a bunch of times.
I tend to believe that as well.
There's a whole bunch
but there's
of
a ton
evidence.
of there's a ton of things in society like that where it's like no matter what happens, 50 years from now, people will still say, nope, that happened. We just gave you 2 of them, but I'm with you. That's kind of what happens.
You're with me on the OJ did it part?
Yeah, I know. Going out on a limb. Really going out on a limb there.
Shocking development.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking development. The Royals take on the Tigers tonight.
They do.
A divisional foe. They've got 2 divisional foes this series, or this week. They got the Tigers, and then they've got the Twins, who just got swept by the Guardians over this previous weekend. And now the Guardians have a 1.5 lead on the Royals. But the Royals have a 4-game lead on the third-place Twins. 2-horse race? You ready to go 2-horse race? Just the only teams who are going to win the AL Central are the Royals and the Guardians, or is May 20th a little too early for you?
Too early, man. Yeah, it's too early. Look,
Twins are falling back. They got injuries. They've got players performing
Cody,
poorly.
they haven't even played.
They won 11 games in a row and still are 4 games back of the Royals.
They haven't even played the Guardians yet, man.
No.
They haven't even played them. We got to wait.
Well, they're in the race. I didn't eliminate them.
They haven't even played them, though.
Yeah.
I think we're at the point, though, where fast forward to July. Yeah, there's a decent chance it'll be clearer and clearer, but it's too early still to say that it's down to 2. One thing is, no, the Royals are going to be in the race. That 100% with you. But down to 2 teams already, I can't get there yet. I mean, the Twins started off terribly, then they got hot, and now they've lost a few in a row again. So they're inconsistent, and that's why the Royals are where they're at and the Twins are, because the Royals are actually been consistent all year. They've avoided a long losing streak. They, right now they're trying to build a long winning streak. They've won 4, or hopefully winning 4 in a row if they get the win tonight. I think you just got to pump the brakes still on narrowing it down yet, especially because this is a division where heading in, everybody thought was going to be the worst in baseball, and it's not.
No,
the Guardians and Royals made it not only a competitive. It's one thing to be a competitive division because the teams
Tigers
suck.
are also 500.
Yeah, I mean it's competitive not just because the teams all stink. It's competitive because the Royals and Guardians are actually both off to great starts. We all thought we'd be saying, "Oh, it's competitive. First one to 82 wins, or whatever." That's not what this is. The Royals and the Guardians are pacing for well over 95 wins right now.
The problem they have right now, the Royals, is that they really do need to maintain wins for you need to anyway. But because the Guardians, who are already winning baseball games, are taking on trash opponents. They got the Angels coming up. They got the Rockies coming up. They don't have some murderer's row of schedule that gets them through the end of May. They just have a bunch of Jags the rest of the month. And I pointed out last night on Twitter, which I think is important as you think about this next week and a half for the Royals heading into Memorial Day, is June is going to be a bear. It doesn't mean the Royals, who I think are a very good team, can't win games in June or can't finish June above 500 or any of those other things. But their June schedule, which we can get to even more so as we get closer to it, it's going to be a challenge. They're going to have 6 or 7 games. I can't remember if it's a 4-game series in the second set. They're going to have 6 or 7 games against the Guardians, a team that is obviously well above 500 right now because they're a game and a half ahead of the Royals. They also have a 4-game series against the Yankees, the team with the best record in the American League, and a 3-game set against the Dodgers, a team that's the second best record in all of baseball, right behind the Phillies. That's tough. I mean, that's half your damn month is going to be a challenge. And there's some pretty decent teams in between there.
I just think the schedule always sorts itself out anyway. We can,
sure, you get easy teams, you get bad teams.
Yeah,
and really last weekend's what we should feel good. They're beating bad teams.
That's exactly right. They're going to have a step up in competition later, but in the past they were losing these type of games in series, and instead now they're beating up. And go through any team that won 90+ games last year. My guess is, without looking up, is they fared pretty well against the teams that were crap. That's part of the equation. You're going to play 162. Nobody is going to just roll through the division from a head-to-head perspective every year. You're probably going to be hoping you're at least 500 there, but you beat up on some of the bad teams along the way.
Yeah, you win the series against the mediocre or bad teams, and
you make sure you're competitive in those series against those. Now, later in the year, will it matter? Yeah, I mean, if we're in the end of August and the Royals are 2 games back in the division, well, then obviously those are all magnified series, and you're going to play potential playoff teams that you're going to have to go out and you can't just be in the series. You're going to have to win those. Right now, beat up, in this case, they just swept a team, too. It wasn't just winning a series. They swept the A's. You sweep anybody. I don't care who you are. You mean the White Sox, the A's, doesn't matter. You sweep anybody in baseball. That's a really tough thing to do. And they found a way to do that against the Oakland A's, and their pitching is why they have a chance every single night. We keep saying that's why tonight. Yeah, it's not their number 1, number 2 starter. It's Michael Wacha, but he was great the last time out for them. He's going to give them a chance, I have no doubt, heading into tonight's game.
By the way, if you think that there's any chance, because we've been asking the question, I've been asked the question a lot, like when are the Royals going to when's their next move? As in, the outfield isn't hitting, when is it Velasquez or MJ, or like, when do they make an adjustment, or Isbell, for someone who can hit versus just the elite level defense they're getting in the outfield right now, which they are on a consistent basis? If it's not now, it's still going to be a few more weeks. Omaha just called up Chandler Champlain. And the way that works is now they're sitting at too many on their roster, which means they have Wednesday to make it. I think they have to make 1 or 2 moves by Wednesday. So either send somebody up to the big leagues or send somebody down. They're going to have to make choices. Look, they can make them. But the Royals are in an interesting position where I don't think it's crazy to start thinking it could be a 2-horse race. It is too early to say that. But, they go out and they embarrass the Twins again this week, and just like the Guardians did, and it's really going to feel that way. That the Twins are never going to, get their feet under them long enough this season, other than that 111-game winning streak, to maintain. And the Guardians, who I keep thinking are going to come back to earth, won't. They just won't. They're frustrating me. They're the most frustrating of all the franchises that, over the last 20 years, that annoy me. The Guardians do not do it with more money or more resources than the Royals, but damn it, do they do it more consistently, and it is annoying as hell.
Yeah,
it's so annoying. They just lose their number 1 Cy Young caliber starter. Oh, oops, still in first place.
Yeah, hopefully that catches up to them later, though, that not having Shane Bieber when it's late in the year and when they're magnified games. Hopefully that's something that hurts the Guardians. And also, look, they're going to add at the deadline, too, I'm sure, some form or fashion. To what extent, who knows? But yes, if you're asking me who are the 2 teams that are most likely to be battling it out in September, right now, yeah, my answer is Royals and Guardians. I just think it's too early to already eliminate the Twins. That's all from the conversation. I can tell you odds-wise where things stack up. The Guardians are the favorites to win the Central, plus 115. Twins still have better odds than the Royals to win the Central. 2-1. Royals are plus 380, but the Royals just plus 136 to make the playoffs, as their updated win total in Vegas is 83.5. Was 72, 73 at the beginning of the season. It's gone up over 10 games, and they sit 10 games above 500. And they've got an opportunity against the Tigers to at least push them back a little bit more beginning tonight.
God, please beat the Tigers. Tigers are fun to beat, aren't they? By the way, Wednesday's game, the day game will be out ahead of time if you want to donate the stuff to the Let's Play Sports Equipment Drive. Skubal versus Reagans? Woo! I mean, look, if you want to enter back into the Cy Young conversation for real, which Reagans was in before the season started, a little bit in the early part, Skubal's firmly in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be a guy that you would want to win the duel against if you'd like to reemerge as a potential candidate. Although we said this a week and a half ago, Lugo's going to have to be a real member of this conversation in about, I guess, by the odds makers, a month. Yeah. But, you can't keep ignoring him forever if you're the odds makers. If he's got a sub-2 ERA and is now striking out 8 to 10 batters.
It depends on where the money's coming in, right? I mean, from that, you went down from 60-1 to 30-1. If nobody's betting it and they're not worried about a liability, they're not going to drop the number. It's when they start thinking there's maybe a liability that we start to see some of the odds shift. But still good value at 30-1 for Lugo. I think some people still just are banking on him not being this consistent, but man, it's almost June and he's been able to do it. He's got the most quality starts in all of baseball too, and we know towards the top of the league in American League in ERA, he's been so good, and he's doing it in different ways now too. We know early in the year it was truly relying only on the defense and wasn't having a ton of strikeouts. Now he's doing both. He's got great defense behind him. He leans on that when he needs to, but he's also shown he can go and strike out hitters. He's been sensational.
Yeah, the whole starting rotation has been a joy, if we're being honest.
During What's Trending, or when we were coming back, I was watching. We got a couple TVs in here, and they were going through headlines from the weekend. I'm surprised Drew didn't want us to talk about this earlier. I saw there was a legit fight in NASCAR. Like
and you're the resident NASCAR fan.
Legit fight. Like I saw,
was it staged?
Flat out punch.
No.
It looked staged. It looked like we were watching WWE.
Kudos to the videographer,
Raw or whatever, because the cameras are just there and they're talking bleep, and all of a sudden, who was it? Stenhouse, Ricky Stenhouse,
Jr. and Kyle
just
Busch.
a right-handed punch. I wouldn't even call it a full-on hook because it was. But
what were they fighting about?
What was going on?
So on lap 17, 18 of 200, mind you, way early in the race. Stenhouse was getting used up pretty good, and it looked like he might have come down a little bit. Kyle Busch sent him up the track into the wall. Race done. Stenhouse.
He's allowed to do that, though, right? That's part of rubbing is racing, is what I learned from Days of Thunder. And I would like to. I assume that still stands.
Well, rubbing is racing, but not.
That's Talladega Nights, right?
Not getting somebody
rubbing
into
is
the
racing
wall.
is Days of Thunder for sure.
Is it?
Yes, I believe it's Days of
That's my
Thunder.
favorite racing movie ever.
Days of Thunder?
The if you're not first, your last is Talladega Nights.
Because Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, great movie. Anyway, go ahead.
So Stenhouse. So typically, sometimes guys will go through the infield care center. They'll come out and then they'll leave early. Ricky Stenhouse, and there's a photo of him after the race is done. He waits the entire race. Kyle Busch found out, hey, he wants to talk to you. There's a photo of Stenhouse hanging out, just waiting as Kyle Busch is walking towards him. Like,
So he was always going to punch him. He was always going to punch him, is what you're telling me.
He was interviewed after and said, just wait until after the race is done.
Ooh.
So
he
sure enough, they get to face and they are bickering back and forth, and then Stenhouse throws the punch, and then after that, mayhem, and just as Ricky's dad comes in and throws a punch at Kyle, and then Kyle's punching his dad.
All right, what is your dad coming into the? You started the fight. Your dad comes to then go punch the other dude. That's messed up. What are we doing here?
Crews were getting involved. Oh yeah, it was the whole 9 yards, baby.
Keep your dads out of the fight.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't think he asked him to.
But your dad's stepping in and punching the other guy. That's That's messed up.
You know, I was in high school. So these kids who lived near me, I don't know if I need to say their name, but
sure.
They lived near me. They got into a self-defense fight, I think. Is it finished legally, maybe, in that case? Where, like, one person wielded, like, a sword I think it was a sword in attacking them. But their dad was in the middle of the fight. You're like, what are you doing? These are teenagers fighting with a sword. Why are you there? Get out of this situation. Like, you can't be involved in this. You imagine your dad getting in the middle of a fight with you right now?
No.
Your dad's a little older, too. That wouldn't know now. But like at any stage of your life, would your dad have stepped in front of a punch for you?
No.
Wouldn't want my dad
absolutely not. Yeah, that was what I couldn't get over when I watched the replay of this fight. It's like, when is his dad getting involved? So what happens now, Drew?
For the people who texted in, thank you for the correction. It was earlier than that. They were showing a replay later on, maybe lap 18, something like that. It was like... like bang on from the beginning.
Stenhouse just gets. Is it like any other league? Like he's just now going to be suspended the next race? How does this work?
I would be shocked if there was a suspension.
Great.
This is one of those where you dust them off, go at it again. You're pissed off the day of, but a few days from now, you might still dislike the guy or whatever for a little bit, but it blows
off.
off.
I'm Kyle Busch, this dude just flat out punched me. F him.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely. I'm going to put his ass in the wall every time we're on the track.
You think I'm going to let you have a clean pass even if... No.
What's NASCAR's punishment system for this? Do they get suspended for a certain number of races if you get in a fist fight?
That's what I was asking.
Well, I think he's fine.
You just do whatever the hell you want. That's great.
Well,
it's just a Mad Max, man.
You can't quite do whatever you want. But
are you sure? He crashed a guy's car in the wall, and another guy punched his face. You said they both get it. Just keep racing.
If I'm,
what's the thing you can do outside?
Well, see,
of
that's the thing. That's why I call it even. It's not like Kyle Busch ran him into the wall and punched him. Kyle Busch ran him into the wall. Stenhouse punched him.
So now it's even? It's not even.
100% it is even.
Right. One of those things happened on the track.
In the sport, inside the sport.
Which player was it that was trying to go to the Royals clubhouse to start a fight?
Oh.
It was like banging on the door. Oh, man, who was it?
I don't remember.
The whole NASCAR stuff. I mean, there's been people.
Which pitcher was it?
NASCAR's been talked about on ESPN the last couple of weeks. It's great. The race was yesterday. It was the All-Star race, though. Next week will be.
it was a for real fist fight, man.
Yeah, no, it was
Chris Sale.
it was as legit.
Chris Sale of the White Sox. He allegedly tried to get in the Royals clubhouse to fight. He wanted to fight Giordano.
Yeah. See, this is what I was talking about with Mike Cal. You need a couple of red asses on a team. Moose, Giordano. They had a couple of guys that would stir up a little bit of trouble sometimes on the field.
It was Chris Sale and Jeff Samardzija. Part of
Samardzija.
2 or 3 ancillary fights during the melee. I think that's what it says. White Sox Sale. This was back in April of 2015. White Sox Sale went to KC Clubhouse. Trouble averted.
I will say this: a lot of people I don't think are very. They're not mad that Kyle Busch got wrecked or that Kyle Busch got punched.
Is he not liked?
Not.
You'll have to update us next week. Next Monday, I expect an update if another punch happened or something.
Let me know. NASCAR drivers. Last name is Bush.
Hey, believe me, this upcoming weekend we got the Coke 600 after the Indy 500.
Of course, the Coke 600.
It's the longest race of the year. There's going to be tensions. It's going to be a good race, but it'll be interesting to see who gets payback, I guess. Like if there's any sort of extra, there is pettiness in NASCAR though. Like somebody,
I'm sure
somebody did correctly bring up. Stenhouse went to.
Wait, this was at an all-star race too.
Yeah,
so this would be like they're fighting at the Pro Bowl. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Who fights at the Pro Bowl?
You're trying to tell me this would be like
is there money on the line?
There's $1 million on the line in the all-star race. There's nothing
because I'm like, wait, I saw all-star and I'm like, Cody, I'm thinking, wait, hold on, they got in a fight like at the equivalent of the Pro Bowl, but no, okay, there's actually something on the line.
There is
Fair
$1
enough.
million.
Fair enough. All right, guys.
You guys got to start watching that NASCAR more. I'm telling you, it's.
Hey, I'll promise you this: if there's going to be fights every day, I might actually have to tune in.
Do you guys watch the Indy 500? Are you going to watch the Indy 500?
No. I'll watch the beginning. Start your engines, and I'm out.
You didn't even watch a lap?
No, I'm good. I go to the Brickyard though. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
I go to the race in person.
Hang on. Would you go to the race or would you go to the snake pit where there's a party and everything like that
Both.
the whole time?
How about that? We're back at it tomorrow. We're going to be live at the Urban Youth Academy collecting your sports equipment for the Urban Youth Academy. It's all presented by Pinnacle Bank. James MacArthur, the general, going to stop by. We'll also talk to Royals General Manager J.J. Picollos right here on Cody and Gold.